your play-by-play man. The first news is that Tony Dorsett will start his 93rd consecutive game as a running back for the Dallas Cowboys. I caught him coming out of the dressing room. He said, it's game day, isn't it? That's what I get paid for. He gets paid a lot for it, and he's a great running back. Now, with me is Dick Vermeil, the former Super Bowl coach for the Eagles. Which Dallas team are we going to see? The one that showed up last year and Detroit whipped, or the one that beat New York the other night?
Tom, I can't believe that Tom Landry will allow his football team to come into Detroit 2 years in a row and be complacent and take them for granted. In talking with them last night, as you recognized and I did, they're a much more serious football team. They're ready to play.
Now, Detroit last week got 174 yards rushing out of James Jones. But can they really do that? Keith Thorney, their all-pro right guard, is on the IR, will not play. Can they move the ball on the ground?
Well, I think you can move it, but I don't think you can beat Dallas with a one-dimensional offense. You have to throw the ball efficiently to win, and if Detroit's going to win the football game, they really have to pick up the passing game.
And, of course, we talked a little bit, Dick, about that great home advantage that Detroit seems to have. Last year, they won 7 games, 6-2 here at the Silverdome. They beat Dallas, San Francisco, Miami, New York Jets, and those are all playoff teams. So we're not kidding about the Lions being very good here in this ballpark. A big crowd, and, of course, this is a good game. Last year, Detroit had no chance, we didn't think, or a lot of people didn't think, and darn if they didn't beat the Cowboys 26-21. Murray for Detroit will kick off, one of the very fine kickers in the league. Lovett and Darryl Clack, 2 young, fine running backs for Dallas, and they haven't run back many kickoffs in a long time between touchdown run backs for the Cowboys. Here's Darryl Rogers in his second year at the helm of Detroit. They whipped Minnesota last week, 13-10. And, of course, the only coach they've ever had.
Tom Landry is the best. When you coach against him, Tom, you better be prepared, because if you aren't superbly prepared, he's going to beat you.
Danny White said that the old man, or Tom Landry, wasn't as interested in the offense until about halfway through preseason. Now he's beginning to get involved again.
Well, he turned it over to the direction of Paul Hackett, the new coordinator.
The second game of the season is underway. That is Darryl Clack. Clack at the 6-yard line, out to the 19-yard line. Angelo King made the tackle. Danny White, no interceptions last week against the New York Giants in a big win that the Cowboys had. That's the key to him. His defense against him, Keith Ferguson, Eric Williams, and William Gay, who intercepted his first pass a year ago in this ballpark. Jimmy Williams, James Harrell, and Maxwell very good against the run inside, and Angelo King a good blitzer on the outside. McNorton and Watkins at the corners, the rookie Mitchell at safety. Demetrius Johnson will be against Cosby. First and 10, the ball is on the 19. The handoff to Dorsett. The injured one gets out to the 25. Looked pretty swift. Here's the Dallas offense. Danny White, Tony Dorsett, number 93 in a row, he started. Newsom at fullback. Tony Hill and Gordon Banks, both from Stanford, on the outside as receivers. Richards, Titanser, Rafferty, who's been in every game since he became a Cowboy as a player. Kerr, Cooper, and Doug Cosby, who had 11 catches a year ago. Call it second down 4 as Danny White changes the formation and moves Tony Hill to the bottom of your screen. Walker is in the game and gets the pass. Herschel is dropped short of the first down at the 28-yard line by Jimmy Williams.
This is something that Danny White is really not used to doing, Tom, of laying the ball off quickly to the running back. He's used to hanging on to the ball, but when you have backs like they do in Dallas with the likes of Herschel Walker with a new philosophy of throwing the ball, they want him to get the ball out there and let him go ahead and run with it.
It'll be third down and 1. Are we going to see the full house backfield, the old straight T that we've heard about that they might run?
I kind of doubt we'll see it in a true. They might line up in it, but they won't stay in it.
It's an offset pro set now. Walker is in there at that right halfback spot, right in the bottom center of your screen. Third down and 1. First down. Gordon Banks ran the deep sidelines, and White was very cool in finding him.
You're going to see Danny White on 3rd and 1 situation now. Just a straight drop back pass, 5-step drop, turn to his left, fire the night out pattern here to Gordon Banks, number 87, being covered tightly by Bruce McNorton. But it's tough to cover that guy one-on-one, Tom, if you don't have any help underneath.
A 15-yarder, the first pass, or the second pass by Danny White, and it was complete. Remember, White had no interceptions against the Giants, and that's the key to him. 1st and 10. Dorsett stumbles and falls at the 41. Looked like he lost his footing.
Tom, I really think that Phil Posderick, number 75, the left tackle, was trying to influence block William Gay. The defensive right end, number 79, in the influence block was not effective. Therefore, Dorsett got hit in the backfield.
I'm glad you mentioned Posderick because he's starting in left tackle as Richards still has that bad ankle. It's the 3rd game the big left tackle has missed, and Posderick got a game ball for the win over the Giants. 2nd down 11, a loss of 1 for Tony D. The toss back to Dorsett. He's got a block. Dorsett to the 44-yard line. Jimmy Williams making his 2nd solo tackle.
You're going to see a toss here to the left side of your screen. Dorsett standing at the very left corner of your screen. Nice toss pitch back. You'll see Cooper, number 61, going to kick out on the strong safety. Now Williams coming up from the inside, number 59, making the play. And he's the contract holdout guy that we didn't actually hear his name much last week during the game. Now it looks like he's getting his feet under him.
He's ready to go again. He's got great speed, the Nebraska linebacker. 3rd down and 9. Dorsett has 7 yards, and that's the shotgun for Dallas. White. Complete. Walker was at the 49-yard line of Detroit, short of the 1st down. Hit by Galloway.
You can see that they were going from the shotgun. They just wanted to hit the little 8 to 9 yard pass for the 1st down. Herschel Walker catches it to the left side of your screen. Nice little stop patterned by the running back in front of the defender, number 40, Galloway. He gets a little help right there from number 27, Bobby Watkins. Now you can see him take a shot right at the end of the throw. No 1st down.
A completion and no 1st down. You're looking at Mike Saxon. He had 3 out inside the 20 a week ago. That's Pete Manley, a very, very dangerous tight punt return. This is a high kick. Manley's going to fair catch it. The Lions have the ball at the 12-yard line. 11:08 left in the 1st. No score. Cowboys and Lions. You're looking at Darrell Rogers, who seemed relaxed last night when we saw him in the lobby of the hotel.
He has great ability to maintain composure under pressure, and that is a real asset for a football coach.
Especially on the sidelines on Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, if I had his demeanor, I may still be coaching. Or I might have been fired by now, but I mean, I may not have walked away from the game.
Rogers watching his team go on offense for the 1st time. 1st and 10. The ball is on the 13-yard line. Handoff. James Jones out over the 15, maybe. Here's that Dallas defense. Jones, John Dutton, Randy White, and Jim Jeffcoat, all #1 selections in the NFL. Hegman, Lockhart, and Jeff Rohr, the Yaley at linebacker. And the secondary, they'll gamble. Everson Walls, one of the best fellows. Bill Bates, the hitter, and Michael Downs. They'll be tested today, though. Hipple has got to throw the ball. And you're looking at Hipple on 2nd down 6. A play-action pass. Hipple for Chadwick. Chadwick at the 44-yard line.
Now you see Chadwick coming off the line of scrimmage on Michael Downs, playing him outside, looking as though he expects inside help. He has no inside help, no free safety moving over. It's a post pattern down the hole. Chadwick, who is a tall, rangy guy that can jump, comes down with a nice one.
A 6'10" high jumper in high school here in Michigan. That was a 27-yarder. 1st and 10. The crowd very, very noisy here in the Silverdome. Crossbuck fake pass action. Hipple hits Lewis. Good reception at the 46-yard line. Michael Downs really hit the tight end.
David Lewis will be coming from the right side of your screen. You'll note the right guard pulling out there in front of the quarterback on this waggle action. That's Scott Barrows, number 61. You see the tight end now crossing in the middle of your screen. Michael Downs, number 26, decking him. Boy, that Downs can hit you when you're up in the air, Tom.
And Hipple went to Lewis, who he doesn't usually throw the ball to. 1st down carry. Jones making a spin. James Jones, who last week had 174 yards rushing against Minnesota. Here's that offense. Eric Hipple, Gary James, the rookie from LSU, James Jones, the man we were just speaking of, Carl Bland and Chadwick at the outside receiving spots. Lomas Brown. Dietrich is starting at left guard. He's got a bad knee. Mott at center. Scott Barrows in for Keith Dorney. And Stringer's at right tackle. And there's young Barrows. He goes against Dutton. Second down and 7. Straight drop back. Complete. James Jones gets a headache and the catch. Lockhart.
Here comes Dietrich out of the ball game. You know, in talking to him in the locker room yesterday, I didn't think he was going to be able to play very long. He hadn't practiced all week. And, you know, he said a story came out in the paper this week, Tom, that quoted him as saying that he really handled Randy White last week. He said, Coach, I didn't say that. Can you imagine Randy White's reaction to reading that? And here I am playing on a bad knee.
Well, coaches take those clippings and blow them up and put them on the bulletin board. Third down and 5. A pickup on 2. Third down and 5. Hipple. Complete. Let's see what the call is. Carl Bland was whistled down short of the first down.
You can see they weren't trying to get the big yardage play right here. Just the quarterback is going to get to the ball back there nicely. Now lay it off out to his right. You're going to see the receiver catch the ball and then spin around from the defender. There he is. He catches the ball. Reverse pivots coming around. Carl Bland, young outright, knee goes down. They called him down. He was touched down. Anytime he's touched down when the defender has touched him, it's a downer. Mike Black in the kick. A great kicking week against Minnesota. He's going to try to get it inside the corner, but he's got to be careful. Lovett is back. A dangerous returner that Dallas needs desperately. Their special teams have been pretty ineffective for the last 6 or 7 years on punt, run back, and kickoffs. Here's Black's kick. This is a poocher. Lovett fumbles it. Let's see. Dallas got it back, Tom.
Dallas retains possession. A muff by Lovett.
Recovers his own fumble.
Center your attention, the center of your screen now. There it is, Lovett catching the ball right there, or trying to catch a football. There it is on the ground. Unfortunately, he did not allow Tom Tenur, number 60, to steal it.
How'd you like to get inside those two heads?
Yeah.
Black the kicker, and of course Eddie Murray.
Yeah, you know, Black did a nice thing, and I was watching him out early before the pregame warm-up really officially got started. He gave this ball to this young kid sitting in the stands, and that kid probably got the gift of a lifetime right there.
Young guy might be 25, you see right there. We don't know how old he is. Danny White is 3 for 3 for 25 yards, but bad field position for Dallas. Ball is right on the 10-yard line. First and 10. Dorsett. A pickup of 6 yards out to the 16-yard line. Devon Mitchell and Johnson making the tackle. A McFadden field goal puts the Eagles on top of Chicago in the first quarter early. Is that an upset?
Well, it's one in the making. You know, they started out ahead last week, too, though.
Cincinnati, the sleeping giant of the offense. Wow, Houston rolls on. Here we have no score. 6:15 left in the first period. Dorsett on second down 5. A loss of 3 as Jimmy Williams came up quickly.
You're going to see to the right side of your screen Jimmy Williams moving inside out. Now he'll meet Timmy Newsom's block in the backfield, ward him off, maintain his balance, work inside out. Good linebacker play. Dorsett had no place to go.
Boy, good hand play by that linebacker. He never let the blocker get into his body, huh?
Well, Jimmy Williams, as you know, Tom, was late in reporting to training camp, missing the preseason with the exception of the final game, and he's been rusty, and he told me he was just starting to feel like a linebacker again. Of course, he's a wealthy linebacker.
Very wealthy. Third down and 7. The Dallas shotgun. White gets it to Herschel Walker. Walker hit hard at the 20. Maybe got enough for a first down. This will be a close measurement. When I was talking to Walker the other day, this was on Wednesday, he said he weighed 216 right on the nose and told me he ran a 9-1 100-yard dash as a senior in high school.
Isn't that unbelievable? You know, when you look at him, he appears to be bigger. You know, when I met him for the first time last night, I expected to see like a guy, a 230-pounder. When he said 216, I couldn't believe it.
Well, the nicest young people I've talked to that's come into this league.
Poor guy's nearly broke.
Not a bad fifth-round draft choice. He got the first, and that was on a spinning move because he was shelled right away, and Herschel's fast, big frame got the first down. 3 catches for 17.
Don't be surprised if we see him out as a wide receiver running by people here, too. He's got that 9-1 speed, as you said.
Scary, isn't it? 5 minutes left in the first period. Danny White looks like he likes the new system, the offensive passing system. First and 10. Dorsett's in motion. Blitz is on. Danny White. A pretty good scramble by Danny White. And no interception. That's the key.
Good heat. He did a good job of getting underneath the defensive ends rush, and the inside linebacker was coming as well, Vernon Maxwell. Danny did a nice job of avoiding. You know, he's no Montana in terms of avoiding people, but he really does, from what Paul Hackett told me last night, does a real good job of reading coverages and knowing where he's going with the football.
He really likes the new pass offense that they brought in from the 49ers by way of Paul Hackett, huh?
He says he feels like a rookie again, with all this new learning.
Second down and 10. Crossbuck, Dorsett's hit at the 20-yard line. The Lions jumped it quickly. That was Keith Ferguson, and I believe Vernon Maxwell.
You're going to see, oh, we have a man down, Timmy Newsom.
Newsom, they ran a crossbuck. He may have been the one that was caught crossing.
To the left side of your screen, you'll see number 57 moving up in the guard tackle gap right there, the left center of your screen. Vernon Maxwell, he's going to fire in there. They're pulling people, so that turns him loose. He gets to the quarterback right after the handoff, but Dorsett is hit back there before he really gets a chance to go, Tom. I can't see where Newsom got
Vernon Maxwell plays so close to the line of scrimmage that it looked like Newsom didn't even have a chance to make the block.
Oh, there was no way he could get to him up in there that tight.
And Vernon Maxwell, of course, was a high draft choice from Arizona State. He went to the Colts and into Indianapolis and then to San Diego. And boy, he's found a home here. He got a game ball for last week's game too.
He just hasn't been able to maintain that home relationship. You know, all of a sudden he fools around a little too much and gets himself fired, but he appears to be more settled down. There's Timmy Newsom.
Third down 11. Todd Fowler, the young running back, is in there for Newsom. Shotgun. Complete to Tony Hill. Almost enough for that first down. This will be a close measurement. I believe it's enough for a first. Bobby Watkins was close.
I believe he made it, Tom. Nice read by Danny White, the quarterback. They rolled the coverage to the other side of the offense, and he was over on the one-on-one side, and Danny found him. Nice execution.
Danny White looks more settled down to me, and when I talked with him last night, and you and I talked with him, he just has a very assured presence about himself.
You know, he said, Coach, I've been around Dallas for a long time. It's the first time I've been complimented.
Yeah, that helps. That's also a great motivator. First and 10. The ball's at the 32. Dorsett gets out to the 36. James Harrell makes the tackle. Don't tell me number 33 isn't tough.
No. You know, no one's ever given him credit for being a tough football player. They call him a finesse runner, the guy that gets underneath the tackles and doesn't take the direct shot. That's true. But you can't eliminate the fact that he is a tough football player as well.
And you know, Wednesday, he said, I'm going to go by someday O.J. Simpson, some of the great runners, and he said, I don't think people really realize that I'm a hard-nosed guy and I play every week.
He's just not as big as the rest of those hard-nosed guys. That's it.
Second down and 5. Dorsett has 14 yards. All of them tough. Danny White knocked away beautifully by number 27, Bobby Watkins, intended for Gordon Banks.
Bobby Watkins was strung out all by himself. There he is, the left corner. He's one on right there playing inside because he has no help inside. Everybody's dogging the quarterback. Now you'll see number 87, Gordon Banks, plant the inside foot, roll to the out. Now you'll see here Watkins drive, put the right hand on the ball. Well done. That's what he's paid to do. Take another look at this. See that right hand flick there? Did not interfere with the receiver's right to catch the ball. Just good defense.
Good play. 3rd down and 5. White is 5 of 7 now. White being blitzed. Banks has 1st down at the 46-yard line. What a throw by Danny White.
Danny White really took a shot that time. We're back on Gordon Banks right here, number 87, working again on single coverage. A little stop now. Plays the little inside move, takes the ball, wheels around for the 1st down. Good job. But boy, did Danny White take a shot, Tom. You'll see Danny White in the middle of your screen, backing up out of the shotgun. There comes Vernon Maxwell, number 59, and he gives him lunch.
You know, the first year after he replaced Roger Staubach, they went 12 and 4, and nobody gave him any credit for that either. 1st down and 10. The draw play to Dorsett. Maybe the 47-yard line.
That's the same red dog in terms of linebacker dogging that they used a few minutes ago when Newsom got hurt.
Herschel Walker, number 34. It was so much fun to meet him in person. He's almost a spiritual person, you know. I thought, what's he going to be like? And he really is a genuine, nice, very wealthy young person.
Sure like to have him on my side of the line of scrimmage when I'm coaching, I'll tell you that.
I'd like to be his agent.
Yeah.
2nd down and 10. Dorsett and Walker together. Walker is to the top of the screen. And he takes a pass. And he catches it at midfield and somehow gets to the 49-yard line. He is strong. McNorton hit him in the catch, and he still made that yard on his own.
This guy is not a move guy. Here he is to the left side of your screen running a little hitch pattern. Now, don't be surprised if later on you see McNorton, who is just a midget in contrast, making the play. Tough man to get down. He's not a move guy, Tom, but you got to hit him square. He'll run right through the normal tackle.
Looked like he was going to lose a couple of yards after the catch, and he made 2. Tom Landry. He's talking, of course, to the Hackett, the new coordinator, upstairs. 3rd down and 5. In the shotgun again. Danny White. Almost picked off. Galloway had a chance at the ball. And Danny White dodged a bullet.
Dwayne had a shot at that interception. He drove nicely, as you see the ball moving to the right side of your screen, drove nicely on the ball, but he's a short little guy, and he just couldn't get there. He's only 5'8". Tom, I think I could eat soup off his head. He may not be 5'8".
He plays so large. Here's Saxon back now for his 2nd punt. Pete Manley to run it back, also from Arizona State. Dale Rogers has a lot of his old collegians with it. Here's Saxon's punt. He almost got it blocked. Takes a little bit of a Dallas bounce inside the 20 to the 17.5-yard line, and they'll touch down. Saxon does his job again, but the Detroit defense, they're digging in. No score.
From their own 13.
The only reason I'm wearing these glasses is that I'm almost legally blind without them, all right? You notice Dallas had the ball for 10 minutes and 38 seconds of the first 15, and yet didn't get any points.
Well, they've been throwing the short stuff. I look for him in the 2nd quarter to go deep against that man-to-man coverage.
Yeah, good ball game, though, you know, but no points on the board. It's still pretty interesting here. As we said, 75,000 purchased ducats to come to this beautiful place. First quarter only took 26 minutes. We're going to talk about Keith Dorney, the right guard, who is not in there, the all-pro right guard, in just a moment. 1st and 10 for Hippel in Detroit. Inside move to Jones, James Jones, out over the 15 to the 16-yard line. Boy, he had some game last week. He had over 100 yards at halftime.
Yeah, Tom, but neither guard that did such a great job of blocking last week is in the ball game right now. Right now, playing left guard is Scott Barrows, number 61, a free agent that was cut a year ago. And the right guard now is Kevin Glover, number 53, a backup player. Well, neither starting guard in the game.
Where's Dorney? He may be on the sidelines. We'll try to get a shot of him. He was so mad talking about his arthritic knee that he had to have worked on and go on the IR list. We'll talk about him. Third down, or second down and 7. Oh, in and out of the hands of Carl Bland. Number 80, who had 2 good catches against Minnesota a week ago.
Watching Carl practice Friday, he wears very thick glasses in practice, but he wears contact lenses in the game. And one Pete Manley, his locker mate, said the reason he wears contact lenses is if he drops one like this, he can then crawl around as if one of the lenses fell out.
Well, if you get them in wrong, it does hurt your vision, doesn't it?
I've done that a few times.
Okay. There you're looking at him, number 80. He's young, and he's going to be a great receiver. Third down and 7. The first incompletion for Hippel. He's 4-5. Out to Jones. Jones hits and fumbles. Recovered by Dallas at the 4-yard line. Jesse Penn, the linebacker.
Jesse Penn to the right side of your screen, number 59, playing the running back out of the backfield. Number 30, James Jones, is moving inside out on the coverage. The reception is made. He tucks it away, and now he gets it knocked out right there, and Jesse Penn is scrambling for the ball. Last year, Jesse Penn returned a fumble for a touchdown in this situation.
And, you know, he had 4 solo tackles against the Giants the other night. He is really an active linebacker that's beginning to fit into that Dallas defense.
That he is. Hey, with this great field position, even I might be able to score from here.
First turnover break that has happened for either team. First and goal from the 5. Dorsett sweeping. He's got some blockers. Touchdown. Not supposed to play this week at all with a badly sprained ankle, and he gets the first touchdown.
I'll tell you, he's the kind of guy that doesn't need the motivation from a second back of the caliber of Herschel Walker to play. But you can see him right here on that sore ankle. You can't tell me it's not sore. Running the sweep, gets good blocking right there from number 30 Newsom. 84 owns his man right there, Doug Cosby. Clean up block right there. Great job by Crawford Kerr.
Crawford Kerr is about 290 some odd pounds of offensive guard that Dorsett's beginning to walk in the shadow of a lot. Septien now for the extra point. He nails it. An opportunity, a fumbled catch by Jones, and a touchdown burst by Tony Dorsett, and suddenly it's 7-0 Dallas.
Follow the offensive right guard coming out, number 68, as he pulls at 298 pounds and takes on a defender at the flag. Follow him as he locks him in, and Dorsett goes in for the score standing up.
You're looking at the interim head coach of the Dallas Cowboys in his 27th season, 13 division titles, 5 Super Bowls. I mean, you know, what can you say about Tom Landry?
Oh, I tell you, this guy, look at Dallas turnovers. You know, last year, when they were minus in turnovers, they lost 6 games. When they were plus in turnovers, they won 9 games. So, and that's true of a lot of teams. That's maybe a more dominating stat in regard to the Dallas, because if they don't beat themselves, you normally don't beat them.
Danny White's on the phone. Some operators telling him to use a 1, please, for an outside call.
No, he's talking to Paul Hackett, the new offensive coordinator, sitting to the left of your screen in the black shirt next to Neil Armstrong and Jerry Tubbs, the linebacker coach. The strength coach right there to the back.
What's he doing up there, the strength coach?
Giving him a strength.
Here's Septien's kickoff. It's not going to be too deep. Taken at the 9 by Bland. Carl Bland gets a good wedge and gets hit hard. The flags are down, but Bland gets to about the 28 and a fight breaks out. Jesse Penn really nailed number 80.
Bland on the return, tackled by Jesse Penn.
The officials for today's game, by the way, that's Gordon McCarter, number 48, who will perform as the judge in this case.
Offside, kicking team, holding 54 of the receiving team. Penalties offset, free kick.
54 held on the receiving team. That's James Johnson. And a lot of Cowboys might have been offside. That's, by the way, the first penalties of the game, and they offset. There's Coach Myers, who's been with Tom Landry for so many years.
He's about ready to retire as well. Boy, is he a good offensive line coach. There's the guy that committed the foul, James Johnson. You know, he had a great training camp, Darrell Rogers said.
Sure.
The guy really had a good one.
Don't forget, following us today, you know what happens out on the West Coast? San Francisco and the Los Angeles Rams. CBS doubleheader day, and you know how these two teams really don't like one another. Plus, they both have won their openers convincingly. It's going to be a good one coming up next. Montana's got a little bit of a back problem. I wonder if
it'll be tough on the 49ers, but you know, Bill Walsh has always had success with his backup quarterback in terms of going ahead and playing well and win if they're capable of winning anyway.
Sure. Kemp is going to be the starter, by the way. Of course, the son of our friend the congressman, the former player Jackie Kemp. And now Septien will kick from the 35 all over again. A good run back by Bland is nullified because there was some holding.
He says, do I have to take that hit again?
Wayne Fonts, the defensive coach, over consoling the head coach, Darrell Rogers. The buck stops there, doesn't it?
You bet.
Septien, who beat off the challenge of Zindias in preseason training, kicks this one 2 yards deep, and Herman Hunter comes out with it. The flags are down. Herman Hunter gets to the 26-yard line, and Jesse Penn made the tackle again.
Herman Hunter was cut this week, Tom. We saw him in the hotel when we checked in Friday. He had his bags checking out. They re-signed him Saturday.
It's going to be an illegal block by the returning team again. This is an area though where Dallas really has to improve coverage and kickoff run backs, don't they?
Well, I'll tell you, the big thing that Dallas has not been good at is returning them.
Illegal block during the return. Number 34 receiving team. Half the distance penalty. First down.
Number 34, that's James Griffin. 54-34.
Actually, the Cowboys were 5th in the NFL last year in covering them, but in returning them, they were 25th, Tom.
Well, that's a big edge. There's the culprit, if you can call that. But you know, it's hard to get an angle when you're trying to block somebody. This will put the ball at the 9-yard line. 1st and 10 for Detroit. Handoff, first one for Gary James. James gets to the 15. He is a 4.35 runner of the 40-yard dash.
You could see that speed that time, Tom, because he burst out there by himself after he cleared the linebacker, and a defensive player had to come inside out to get to him, or else, hey, he keeps running.
He carried the ball against Minnesota. It looked like, because he was a wingback at LSU, that he runs perhaps laterally more than he runs upfield sometimes.
Yeah.
2nd down 5, a pickup of 5 for Gary James, the rookie from LSU. That's Bland in motion. Looked like the play was messed up, but Jones gets short of the 20-yard line through just sheer power. Rohr making the tackle.
Boy, did he play well last week in rushing for 174 yards and 36 carries. I asked him Friday, I said, James, would you like to carry the ball that often each week? And he said, no way, Coach. He said, that would shorten my career that much. But he said, I did enjoy it.
Yeah, he was one of the great days in all of Detroit rushing. And, of course, we know they've had Billy Sims and Mel Farr and Steve Owens. They've had some great rushers through the years here. Nick Petrosani, our old buddy. 3rd down and 1, facing the Detroit Lions. They trail 7-0. Short yardage. Jones gets it. Got a flag down at about the 23-yard line.
Penalty marker now.
Defense lined up in the neutral zone. 5-yard penalty. First down.
That defensive line, as old as they are, you wouldn't think they'd want to be too close to the ball, Tom.
Well, but you know, you really coach your defensive line on short yardage to almost line up offside.
Look at this graphic right here.
3 of these 7 oldest defensive linemen happen to be wearing blue and white for Dallas. Dutton, Jones, and of course Randy White. Also 3 of the best.
You bet.
In the
And they
National
still.
Football League.
Randy White hasn't slowed a step, and Dutton had his best year last year.
1st and 10. Hipple's changing the play. The blitz is on. Hipple gets hit, and it's still caught by Bland at the 43-yard line. What a catch. What a throw by Hipple.
Tom, that was an audible. Believe this or not, the Dallas Cowboys lined up in the Chicago Bear 46 defense fans. Very seldom do Dallas ever cover the offensive center. Here they are all coming after him. He does a good job of getting this ball under pressure. Mike Hakeman, number 58, actually batted that ball. Everson Walls out there doing the best he can at 1-on-1.
A 19-yard reception by Bland, 6 for 7 for Hipple for 63 yards, and no points. First and 10 handoff. James chased deep and knocked out of bounds at the 45. A lot of Cowboys chasing. Everson Walls was the first to get there.
Did you see the advantage of having that great speed that time? He outran Too Tall Jones inside out. Now you're going to see Gary James take the ball, cross the formation. Good penetration by Too Tall Jones, number 72. But that speed, Too Tall says, wait a minute, I'm 30-something years old, kid, slow down.
How about a nice young guy from Louisiana, though, looking up and seeing Too Tall Jones for the first time looming over him.
That's why he ran so fast.
Second down and 8 for Detroit, as Jones made him run too deep out of that backfield. The draw, the quick draws, a fumble. James fumbled, and number 50 recovered the ball. Jeff Rohr. Jeffcoat made the tackle.
Great penetration there. Jeff Rohr, the right outside linebacker. You're going to see the ball handed off deep. Quarterback going now. There's the snap. He goes back, hands it behind the fullback to James. The ball's knocked out right there as Jeffcoat came underneath the offensive tackle. In this case, Lomas Brown, and got the penetration, Tom, caused the fumble.
Second big turnover. 2 fumbles. One of them turned into the Dallas touchdown. It's 7-0 Cowboys. 11:24 left before halftime. Tom Brookshier, Dick Vermeil at the Silver Dome. Dallas leading 7-0. Rohr, who just recovered that fumble, is being treated on the sidelines. What does it look like?
You can't tell from here. At least you know he's not knocked out. He's talking. Maybe he got his bell rung. Chances are this guy will be back.
It looks like he was just stunned. He probably got piled on after he fell on the ball. Everybody goes after that thing. It's 1st and 10. Dallas with another opportunity, and they'll lead of 7-0 already.
Herschel Walker out at flanker back, Tom, up on top of the screen.
Dorsett is the tailback, standing right in the midfield. He takes the toss, the reverse fake, and Dorsett keeps it. Steps out inside the Detroit 40. A fake reverse
at the right side
to Herschel Walker.
You're going to notice the toss right in the middle of the screen. Dorsett takes the ball. Now watch him fake the reverse that they ran so efficiently last week, almost scoring with it on Monday Night Football. Set that up. James Harrell, number 58, the inside linebacker, forces him out of bounds.
They're going to use Herschel Walker in many different ways. We've seen him out at that flanker spot a lot already.
Might see him go deep. You know, Dorsett, Detroit is one of 6 teams that Dorsett has never run for 100 yards or better against, Tom. Maybe this will be his day.
He's got 22 yards on 10 tough carries. Detroit's playing tough. 2nd down and 7. At the Detroit 39. Walker's in motion. Knocked down by number 76, Eric Williams, the protege of Doug English, the retired Texan.
Yeah, Eric Williams told me, he says, Coach, I learned a lot from Doug English, the former all-pro defensive lineman here. He said, but the one thing he taught me was the best. He says, never get married. Can you believe that?
Doug English is still a confirmed bachelor, but so is Eric Williams. Some spike, though, by a fellow coming out in the middle of that defensive line.
Good, tough physical nose guard at 280 pounds.
3rd down and 7. Danny White is 7 of 11. And no interceptions. Oh, what a throw. Good catch at the 30-yard line by Tony Hill. Danny White is very relaxed. Flag is down.
Good, tight, underneath man-to-man coverage.
Pass interference, number 27, defense, on a completed forward pass, 1st and 10.
Bobby Watkins interfered, and Tony Hill still caught it.
There's Mr. Watkins. Here he is, right in the middle of your screen, up playing bump and run. Good pressure defense, doing a good job. Now remember, fans, after 5 yards, he can no longer make contact with a guy. He was on his back prior to the catch.
He didn't do anything to him. He caught it anyway.
Defensive backs are all right. Give the offensive guy a chance.
Never change, do we? 1st and 10. The ball is on the 29.
Red 60. Red 60. Red 61.
Danny White goes for the drop back, and it's spiked, intercepted. Number 59, Jimmy Williams made the interception. Eric Williams spiked his 2nd pass, and this time Jimmy Williams intercepted it.
Eric Williams is to the right side of your screen, working on the right guard. Now here he comes, working on, there he goes, up in the air. He actually came off the center's nose in that defense, jopped up there like playing volleyball, and batted it right to Jimmy Williams.
That's right, Detroit gets the first turnover. It's 7-0 Dallas. Dating back to last year, 56 attempts without an interception for Danny White. And that came on his 13th pass today against Detroit. 1st and 10. Hipple. Emerson Walls was beaten by Chadwick, but the ball stayed up there too long.
Good play action fake, no free safety help. He's throwing it deep down the hole. You'll see the free safety is up playing man-to-man, so he's not there. Here it is. He actually underthrew a touchdown pass, but look at Hipple. He said, God, is it there? Oh, my God.
The ball was 50 yards in the air, but it looked to me like that the receiver had to wait for it a little bit.
He did, Tom. He actually had to wait for it.
Hipple is 6 of 8 for 63 yards. Hipple throwing. Lewis can't hold on at the 47-yard line. Bates was there. By the way, the 2 offensive guards for Detroit right now are Steve Kinney, your former Eagle lineman, and young Glover, who's playing the right side.
Steve Kinney's first practice with Detroit was Wednesday. And here he is playing in the ball game, number 63.
Again, Dorney was put, big Keith Dorney was put on the injured reserve because he had a very bad arthritic knee. Can they handle that Dallas rush in there?
It's going to be a problem. I don't know. Kenny's not in there.
3rd down and 10. Intended for number 32, and the flags are down. Bates came across. Number 32 couldn't get his hands up. Gary James. And let's see what McCarter's crew rules on this.
Holding, number 23, defense. 5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Johnny Holloway for holding. Must have been in the 6-pack or the 5-man defense underneath.
He's a converted wide receiver out of college. This guy was an outstanding athlete. Long jump, 24 foot 8 inches. JC wide receiver, he led the country at 32 yards per reception, Tom.
Wow.
Good athlete.
1st down and 10. The ball's on the 43-yard line. Handoff to Jones to about the 47-yard line. I asked Darryl Rogers what he was going to do with Randy White. He said Mott, the offensive center, is going to look at him on every play first and then decide to do something else. We're talking about blocking number 54, who's got to be one of the Hall of Fame linemen that's ever been in this league.
9 times in the Pro Bowl, 8 times All-Pro.
He was 272, and Ernie Staudner put him on a diet. That's the kind of diet I'd like to be on. 2nd down and 5. Jones hit hard at the 49-yard line. Mike Hickman really filled the hole quickly.
Tough to make a living running straight at Dallas. It really is. They're so physical across the front, Tom, and the defense is designed, number one, to take away the run. That's why the secondary is in that man-to-man coverage so much. Tom just feels if I can stop him running, then I dictate to when you have to throw.
They blitz a lot more than they used to. Darryl Rogers' teams see more blitzes than they used to in the past, do you think?
So far, we haven't seen much blitzing from Dallas. We didn't see much in film studies from last week. Now we say tape studies, you know.
3rd down and 4. Ball is short of midfield by a yard. Hippo gets it out of the back, and Jones is short of the 1st down. A good tackle at the 48-yard line by Jesse Penn. It looked like Jones was going to be able to get away from the linebacker, but looks like it's short. And Jones is slow getting up.
Last week at this time, Darryl Rogers went for it against the Minnesota Vikings when we were doing the game. Let's see if the fans influence him here.
The defense says go for it. That keeps him off the field if they make it.
There's Maxwell. They call him Mad Max now, number 57, because he is a little bit of a, you know, different personality. 8
solo tackles last week against Minnesota, and he's settled down. He's becoming a very cooperative gentleman. Going to be short. What do you do at home? Do you want to go for it?
Coach, I'm the conservative guy. I punt it. I wouldn't take the chance of giving Dallas the football right there.
The defensive players and the bench are very irritated, but they don't have to live with the press on Monday morning.
I think Darryl made a good decision.
We'll never know, will we?
Well, last year, they were only 1 for 5 in converting a 4th down situation. The odds weren't good they were going to make it this time.
Not against that defensive line.
No.
Black is standing about on his own 37. And Levette is back on the Dallas 10.
He's going to try about a 5-iron shot this time. Drop that inside the 10.
Another poocher, right?
Yeah, another poocher. There he goes.
Go.
Nice hang time.
Levette fair catching at the 11-yard line. And this time he really snugly puts it away. 7-0 Dallas. And the Cowboys have the ball. Don't forget Saturday, college football here on CBS. Lou Holtz and the Fighting Irish, and boy, they look good even though they lost by a point to Michigan. They play the Michigan State Spartans, who were sort of upset last night by Arizona State. Lorenzo White looks like he might be an All-American choice.
Lou Holtz, fine football coach. George Perlis, of course, doing a good job at Michigan State, but you can, I think the fans are excited now. Notre Dame's back.
Good game here on CBS next Saturday. Newsom goes inside and maybe a yard. Bruised ribs on number 50, Jeff Rohr. Jesse Penn has been playing. You can see Mike Hegman standing along. Linebackers always stand together because they only understand one another. Here's the penalty that's being walked off against Detroit for unsportsmanlike. And that might mean something extra after the ball was down.
That's stupid.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness after the play, number 59 defense. 15 yards, 1st down.
Jimmy Williams, Tom.
Jimmy Williams. A little bit extra.
Yeah, a little bit extra, but they had him down in the hole. That's not smart football. Tom Landry ought to send him a thank you note.
I think your word was stupid. But he's a good player. He's been playing well.
He's a fine player and a good guy.
Landry now on the headset. This is the first time this year I've ever seen him all plugged in.
I haven't ever.
1st down and 10. Play action pass. Danny White has a lot of time. Now finds Dorsett at the 30. Dorsett is bulldogged by James Harrell.
Danny White wanted to go deep, but he couldn't get there. Who's the penalty on this time? Jack Fetty threw that.
James Harrell thought he came up with the football, but he tried to wring Tony Dorsett's neck.
James Harrell won the game ball. Look at Darryl. He's saying, my God, guys, I'm going to walk right out there and kick you right in the...
But what did Harrell do except complain a little bit? It's a very emotional game, folks. Once in a while, you should be able to let off some steam, especially if you're playing a linebacking position against the Dallas Cowboys.
Well, you leave it to Jack Fetty to call that one.
A favorite official of yours.
Not one of my favorites.
The crowd loves him. they're out of the hole, Dallas is. Dorsett to the 45-yard line, and Tony D was moving the feet and almost got out. Maxwell barely tripped him up.
To the left of your screen, you see number 84, Cosby, going inside to seal off the linebacker. 68, Rafford Kerr comes around, blocks Angelo King. You see the great balance of Tony Dorsett working his way upfield.
Wow, Posderick and Cosby are some blocking duo when they seal that side off. The crowd appreciates the last call, and it's 2nd down and 1. Misdirection handoff. First down, Dorsett. A pile of players, including...
Bring that up.
Was it someday? Did you have good defense back now in the National Football League, which is hard to believe? 1st and 10. The ball is on the 42, call it. Dorsett to the 40-yard line. James Harrell hitting hard. As we've said before, the Lions inside linebackers play the run much better this year than they've played the past couple of seasons.
No comparison, Tom. Last year, the safeties were making more tackles than the linebackers. This year, in the opening game anyway, their 2 starting linebackers were awarded the defensive game balls. Vernon Maxwell, that you're watching, wearing number 57, and James Harrell, number 58.
Some wild games around the league. We'll keep you posted here on CBS. Upset time the whole season. 2nd down, 8.
They're coming after.
Play action. Newsome can hang on at the 35-yard line of Detroit. A naked sprint out by White. Incomplete.
Detroit came with a safety blitz in the middle of your screen, number 31 coming up there. You cannot account for he and the linebacker at the same time. He slips by Dorsett, putting pressure on, as well as number 77, Keith Ferguson, and forces an inaccurate throw.
Devon moved into that lineup. You know, he was an All-American at Iowa, but to come in here and start from the very first preseason game on, it's quite an unusual feat for him.
Very cool. I asked him in the locker room, I said, Devon, were you really nervous last week in your first NFL game? He says, football's football, coach. One of those cool guys. You know?
Boy, it's a good draft choice for Detroit. 3rd down and 8. White is 9 of 15. Shotgun. Cosby can't hang on. No, it's Herschel Walker at the 30-yard line. Almost made the catch. He does have good hands.
You'd really have to compliment Detroit in the improvement of their defense, Tom. I mean, last year they were 18th in the league. They were 27th in the league against the rush. Last week they only gave up 62 yards running. They're doing a pretty good job today.
You can see the return man is Pete Manley. Mike Saxon will kick. Manley's back on the Detroit 10. Rush is on.
Great punt.
Very high kick. Manley's not even going to go back there, and it's into the... Is it? Detroit says touchback, but no, it's on the 2.5-yard line. The officials got together and made the call. There's a special team play. You bet it was a special teams play, and it's also a great punt. That ball hung in the air 5 seconds, Tom. Now you'll see the ball bounce right there. If it crosses a plane in the end zone, it's a touchback. It doesn't get there. It takes a great bounce right there. Super play by Steve Diassi, number 55. Steve Diassi. 7-0 Dallas. Darryl Rogers, a Detroit coach, tried to appeal for a instant replay ruling from upstairs. I don't believe he was granted that opportunity. There they are up there. That's Russ Thomas to the right of your screen.
What's he doing sitting with the 2 officials, huh?
He's the general manager and vice president of the Lions.
Hey.
No wonder they said no. 1st and 10. Hipple is 7 of 10. And he's throwing from the end zone. Caught by Chadwick. No, it's trapped. Incomplete. Walls was there.
That's something thrown coming out of your end zone, anticipating tight man coverage. Dallas actually, I think that time, Tom, gave him a little zone. This Chadwick can catch the ball, but the best catch he made all year was in May when he married his wife. He's a newlywed. He graduated from college the same day. That was his best catch all year.
Great all-around day for this young performer from Great Valley State here in Michigan. 2nd down and 10. Field position very poor for Detroit. Hippel out of the end zone. Chadwick catches it. The newlywed gets the ball out to the 25-yard line. A tough over-the-head catch, and he made it for 22 yards.
Hippel just pedals straight out back. Now watch him pedal straight back. He doesn't turn his shoulders now. He just lays it up over the outside shoulder of Jeff Chadwick. Tonight, watch him turn, concentration on the ball, catch it over the left side shoulder. Nice job. And actually, Ron Fellows was there if it hadn't been thrown any other place, Tom.
What do you call that, a fade pattern?
A fade type pattern, right.
All right, 1st and 10. Good throw by Hippel and catch by Chadwick. And they're away from the shadow of that goalpost. Hippel being rushed and overthrows Lewis at the 45-yard line. The flags are down. Jesse Penn put a lot of pressure on the quarterback, and there's a penalty on Detroit. Jesse Penn in for Rohr, has great speed and agility.
There's Mike Hagman. He's trying to make a decision there himself. He wants to get involved with the call.
I think Randy White helped McCarter make this one.
Holding, number 32, offense, 10-yard penalty, repeat 1st down.
Gary James, the rookie, trying to help his quarterback, probably tackled one of those Dallas defensive linemen.
Let's see if we can find this on the bottom left side of your screen. You'll see Carl Bland going in motion. See the halfback number? Number 32. He's got him down. He's got Mike Hagman. Look at that. I got him. Takedown, 3 points.
Perfect tackling style. Hippel lucky to get it off. 1st and 20 facing Detroit. Dallas defense putting the pressure on now. Here's the handoff to James. James taken out of bounds at the 16-yard line, roughly, by Randy White.
You talk about Randy White and his age at 33. He hasn't lost a step. He ran him down from behind, and he's chasing a 4.340 guy, Randy White.
He told me he's going into the office furniture business, and you know that means he moves it in personally and puts it in your office for you.
To the middle of your screen, 54 working inside out, moving to his left. Look at James. Imagine how much faster you can run if you knew he was chasing you, Tom. Huh?
The thing about Randy White is that he begins to get oiled up in the 2nd half, and then he really begins to labor you a little bit.
Yes, he does.
2nd down, 19. The Dallas defense are going to lay their ears back. Almost sacked by Randy White. Jones couldn't make the catch, and the pressure is on.
You can take a look at how Eric Hippel watches the pass defense and the pass rush. He has good time initially. Offensive linemen give him some help. It's a pattern that takes time to develop. Now you see Randy White moving to the left side of your screen, coming after him, scrambling. He gets it off. He's almost in the grasp, trying to get the ball to Gary James. Really a nice shot, wasn't it?
He went on all fours and still came coming pretty fast.
Yeah.
3rd down and 19. Hippel must be very careful. Dallas leads 7-0. Hippel's got an open receiver, and it's caught by Carl Bland. There's a flag down on the Detroit 10-yard line. They may nullify this great pass and catch. Illegal procedure, Detroit.
Darrell say, who made that illegal move?
A 31-yard pass reception nullified.
Illegal motion, left guard, offense, 5-yard penalty, still 3rd down.
That's Glover trying to block Randy White. I can't blame him for being a little bit edgy.
I may move a little bit early myself trying to block Randy White. You see him move right there? No, No, I'm not so sure that's a good call. I think he was reset, Tom. I don't think that was a good call.
Looked like he reset for a count. That's all you're supposed to be able to do.
Unless he put his hand down and lifted it up and then put it back down, which he could have done.
It's Randy White. You don't even get your hand down sometimes. Yeah. 3rd down and 24. Good throw over the hands of Leonard Thompson. It went right through his hands and almost intercepted. Hippel completes a good one, and it's called back. That time he was lucky it wasn't intercepted.
Mike Black will punt for Detroit.
Here you can see he's going right over the top now. There's Leonard Thompson. Now, he's been sick with the flu all week and didn't practice until Saturday, but that ball was thrown just a little bit too high, I think, Tom.
Mike Black is in to punt. You can see what he's done. That doesn't really show how effectively he's been kicking, however. From the end zone. Lavette at the midfield strike. They get the 49. Fumbles it. Dallas retains possession at the 46.5-yard line, but barely. 2:56 left before halftime, and that was close.
Dallas.
Don't forget, following our ball game, you'll get to see the 49ers against the Rams. Johnny Robinson has a fellow named Eric Dickerson, who only had 193 yards rushing last week in St. Louis.
He can run a bit.
And the 49er defense had 7 interceptions, so should be quite a powerful battle out there. Montana will not play, but young Kemp says he will. Following our game on CBS. Danny White with time. And Newsom says he was interfered with. The blitz came.
He was tripped up, but I think maybe the officials looked at that as Tom as it being a ball that would not have been able to be caught anyway. Newsom will be coming from the right side of your screen off a play-action fake, freezing everybody right there. Now you see Newsom appear right there, one-on-one on Devon Mitchell, 31 right there. There he tripped over his legs. Inadvertent contact, I think they rule that type of play.
Dorsett got a pretty good block on that blitzing linebacker. Number 33 stuck it in there, yeah. 2nd down and 10. White is 9 of 17. 1 interception. White going quickly. This is Tony Hill. Looks like he has a 1st down and knocks the official down. Crowd loves that.
I really think on this play, Danny White saw the defense, decided to audible, throws a quick hitch out to his right to Tony Hill, number 80. Now he makes Bobby Watkins miss right there. Nice move by Tony Hill. He's working up there. He's finding the flag, trying to get that 1st down. There he made it.
There's your friend Jack Fetty. He just got upended over there, and the crowd gave him a standing O.
Yeah, well, I'm sure he's a fine official, but I had a number of run-ins through the 7 years for that guy.
Should have an opinion. That's fine, Coach. 1st and 10. The ball's on the 35. Makes the draw and throws to Newsom. He's knocked out of bounds by Vernon Maxwell. Newsom was the man that White faked to, and then he dumped it to him. The official has dropped another flag on one of the Detroit linebackers, I believe.
I'll tell you what happened. Vernon Maxwell walked by the official and sort of gave him a nudge with his arm. And now he's eating the flag now.
I think it maybe just popped out as the linebacker
I think Jack Fetty's eating the flag.
Yep, he's putting it away.
There is no penalty. The defensive player did not deliberately shove the official. No penalty.
Darrell Rogers says what happened is called an inadvertent flag, I suppose. The flag was put away, and you've got to give the officials credit for just making a premature judgment.
Don't argue, Darrell.
Yep.
Don't argue. Get back away from that guy. They might change their mind again.
Landry, all that concentration, he's just thinking about his next call.
Well, he coordinates the calls with Paul Hackett. You know, he started out, like you said earlier in the show, not as involved, but he's gotten more and more involved.
He's the one responsible. 2nd down and 7. Danny White, a lot of time for Danny White this time. Newsome has it. Newsome inside the 25 to the 23, and the Cowboys are taking advantage of those linebackers that are playing so close to the line of scrimmage.
Danny White that time audible again on first down, Tom.
2-minute warning. Dallas 7-0 just before half. Tom Brookshier, Dick Vermeil, 7-0 Dallas over Detroit. Short run by Dorsett after a fumble recovery. By the way, that was Tony Hill's 61st consecutive game catch that he's made in this league. And for a draft choice, it didn't look like it was going to be so sensational a few years ago. He is certainly a prime, great outside receiver.
Oh, he has 26 times 100 yards plus receiving games, Tom. He catches a touchdown every 9th reception in his career. Very productive wide receiver, very bright young man. That
was from a draft choice for John Nyland, sent to Philadelphia.
Yeah.
They used that choice to get Tony Hill. Not a bad deal. Yeah. First and 10, 3 timeouts for each team left. Newsome stacked up, and the flags are down back on the Detroit 34, and it's going to be against Dallas. The crowd likes this.
They called it on Posderick, number 75, and he tried to politic his way out of it, showing that, hey, you know, he turned to the referee right away when he saw the flag. Hey, I didn't do it.
Holding, 75, offense, 10-yard penalty, repeat first down.
He's only 6'9".
The tallest football player in the NFL. There he is, the right side of your screen. See him pass that right there. Now, you're allowed to use your hands. He jams them nicely, but now you can't lock him up as he runs right on by you there like that. See, actually, that is not as flagrant holding as you see on many snaps.
Looked like it could have been a WrestleMania without any problem, though, with that early contact he made.
He had slid out there to block a linebacker who normally is a little quicker rusher than a defensive end, Angelo King, number 92.
Remember, Richards is the big left tackle. He's had a sprained ankle for 3 weeks, and Posderick has done a great job not only filling in, but blocking people. First and 20 facing the Dallas Cowboys. A quick draw to Newsome. Newsome hit hard at the 31 by James Harrell. As we said, those Detroit linebackers step right up in the hole and meet the backs.
They did a pretty good job on that. It's a good offensive call for that first and long. Not trying to get 10 to 15 yards back in one play, thinking 6, 7, break one tackle, maybe we get 10, end up with 2nd and 10. Good call on first down.
Trouble with linebackers playing that close to the line of scrimmage, you can dump the ball over them.
Play action pass really bothers him too.
You can see how much time is left. 2nd down and 13. Danny White to throw. A lot of time. Cosby at the 20. Cosby to the 15-yard line, carrying Jimmy Williams with him. Big target.
He's a big target, and he's never missed a football game as a Cowboy. Last year he set a record. You're going to see Cosby coming off to the right side of your screen. There he is now. See him in the left corner. Now he's going to work up there, moving out to the right. It's what we call a straight pattern. The linebacker, Jimmy Williams, did not continue to buzz with him because he had help the corner underneath. There he is all by himself. Jimmy Williams comes over and makes the tackle.
Remember last year we did this game, number 84 caught 11 passes against the Lions, and the Cowboys lost.
It's still a career high, I think, for him.
3rd down and 2. Cowboys got something going just before halftime. Fake. The blitz is on. Here's the pass to Newsome for a touchdown, and Detroit got caught in the blitz. Danny White saw the linebackers coming and just dumped it, a 15-yard touchdown catch.
There's Newsome, the fullback, right in the middle of your screen. He fakes right there, number 3, and then he checks down underneath right there. They're coming after him. Nobody picked him up. This is the very same play coming out of the 49er offense that they ran in the Super Bowl against Cincinnati that broke the game open for the 49ers.
A lot of different ways this offense can burn you, and it can be a very short pass, which Danny White says is sort of fun this year.
Yeah.
Throw it 4 or 5 yards, and they might go 45
go 40
yards. Septien now kicking. Steve Pallure is the holder. Crowd still buzzing from that easy touchdown.
The reason he was so wide open, you can see the defensive back there, number 21, Demetrius Johnson, a strong safety. Everybody was rushing, and nobody picked this man up as he came out of the backfield off that play action fake, Tom. There he is all alone. Look at that.
And he only had 5 catches coming in, but boy, this is a perfect time to put him into your passing offense, the big fullback.
Danny likes this one, Tom.
3rd touchdown pass of 1986. This is going to be a good year for Danny White.
You know, he's more enthusiastic than I have read him in the last few years. He's more pumped up, more excited about things. I think the new learning has rejuvenated him mentally as well as physically.
And you said Hackett once in a while says, gee, that was a good pickup, or you didn't do that very well, but at least he gives him a response to things, huh?
He said he's never been coached by a guy that's quite as intense at the quarterback position. All good coaches. Hackett is his 5th quarterback coach. And Danny says, this is the first guy that's yelled at me, but yet patted me on the back and said, good job.
Remember the league he came from, the old World Football League?
Yeah,
We've forgotten all about that a few years ago.
You know, not many people realize that a guy like this in the National Football League, 34 years old. Here he's married. He has 4 children. His wife, Jolynn, is sitting home right now. His daughter is his oldest at 13 years old. Here he is. You know,
he's a father.
He could end up like me, being a grandfather at 49. Huh?
A normal person,
yeah.
Right? Septian kicking off. We've got a little over a minute left. Carl Bland waits. And it's taken, though, by Herman Hunter. Herman hit hard at the 24.5-yard line, and bodies fly for just a few moments. Don't forget at halftime, Brent, Will McDonough, and Terry Bradshaw, one of the great quarterbacks of all time. And don't ever forget that. Back in New York from the studio with all the scores and highlights. A silver anniversary of broadcasting. It's when a few of us take a shot at the old Gray Fox himself, Mr. Patrick Summerall.
Yeah, you've had a few good times with Pat over the years, huh?
Yeah, but what's a silver anniversary? That's what his hair has been for about 25 years. A great broadcaster. We're going to have some fun with him at halftime on CBS. Hipple back to throw, checks it off to James. James is bulldogged at the 20. Timeouts remaining. The clock is moving, and no attempt yet to use one by Hipple.
Great pressure by Jeffcoat, Tom.
Great throw. And Chadwick just didn't believe the ball was going to show up.
Tremendous pass rush by Jim Jeffcoat, rushing inside there over the top of the offensive right guard, 61, Scott Barrows. You'll see to the left side of your screen, right in the middle, 77, Jeffcoat. It's a one-on-one situation. He beats him to the outside and just keeps coming, gets pressure, and it's amazing that Hipple got the ball away.
And you know, with Randy White in there, and they're doing that stunt, they're doubling on White. It frees other people up. Here's the dunk to James Jones. Tries to make an evasive effort, and he's still nailed by Jesse Penn. First timeout is burned by Detroit with a dozen seconds left.
Cowboys called the timeout. They want to get a chance at a punt return.
A Cowboy timeout.
They want a chance.
Landry with the headset off now.
Last year, the Cowboys punt return team was last in the NFL, and they want to take a shot at getting a good punt return right here and then being in field position for the field goal after the return. There's Ernie Stotner.
Ernie Stotner on the right and Dick Nolan on the left, 2 guys that I used to play against. They're
Bill
good
Meyer
coaches,
right
boy.
there on the right. Oh, they're
Jim
great
Myers,
coaches.
yeah.
Unbelievable a number of years of experience when you line those 3 guys up on a coaching staff.
I still think Alicia picks out Tom Landry's clothes. They're just...
What's wrong with that? My wife picks out mine. Huh?
Not
Anything
quite
wrong with
the
that?
same.
No.
But you know, he looks like he wouldn't take the time to go into a store and buy his clothes.
Well, he's a good coach.
Smart.
You guys have been making a living the soft way all these years. Don't realize how tough it is out there in that real world.
Wait till you're in this business for a while. The scar tissue forms.
Yeah.
Mike Black is going to be kicking from about his own 5-yard line. Lovett with a chance to put the Cowboys deep inside and maybe get that field goal that Dick Vermeil was talking about. Bates comes in as a punt blocker. Lovett is a very dangerous runner. The Cowboys are going to get that chance. Mike Black never got his foot on the ball. Albritton, I think, got on the ball.
Let's take a look. There comes a snap to the right of your screen. He goes ahead. Here's good rush coming up right there.
Oh my
He
gosh.
fell. He caught his left foot when he went through to punt and tripped on the AstroTurf.
This wasn't windblown because we're indoors. He flat missed it with his left foot catching the rug.
He was falling as he tried to swing his right leg through. His left foot, toe down, caught on the AstroTurf. I've never seen that before.
He's a good
Take
golfer.
a look again, Tom.
He's a
Now,
good golfer, and this is a bogey.
watch his left foot. See it, left foot catching the ground like that? I can visualize how that can happen in the AstroTurf.
All right, what do you think the coach is thinking on the sidelines about that?
Well,
What would you be thinking?
well, if he was a normal punter, you'd think he swallowed the olive. But this guy is not a choke artist. He has punted under pressure. I don't think he's ever had one blocked in his career. No, he's had one block in his career, so he's not a choke guy at all. He's a good punter. He just tripped on the AstroTurf.
And the artificial rug is so adhesive that those shoes are so good, you can really do that. You can fall right over them.
Tom, there was a day when you slipped all over the field on the AstroTurf, but the new shoe, the development of the shoe over the years has made it almost to the point where you have too much traction.
Dallas with a 6-second opportunity.
What a good-looking guy, huh? You wouldn't be mad if one of your daughters brought him home for dinner, would you? Huh?
No, not for dinner. Tough place, though. The kickers are the ones, they're the final ones. Like the young field goal kicker from Notre Dame that they said missed it. We don't know if that was a good hold and the snap
Yeah.
was good. Kicking life
Oh,
is
it's
very
tough.
difficult indeed.
But you know what goes back here is let's go back to and evaluate the great decision to call timeout with 14 seconds to go to try to get the punt return
By the Cowboys.
by the Cowboys.
Right
Yeah,
first, huh?
tremendous coaching. And it may seem minute and it may seem like it's not very important, but the end result is great coaching.
It's a good-looking jacket that Landry has on today. I'm going to ask him where he got it. 27-yard attempt by Septien.
He doesn't miss from this distance.
Steve Pallur is holding. What can you say? That's the way football games are won. And the Cowboys have proven that they have come to Detroit to play football this second game of the season.
You talk about letting the wind out of your sails to go back in the locker room. Boy, that is a great boost for the Cowboys and a real demoralizer for the Lions. And I believe Rodgers is going to have to do a super job at halftime of rejuvenating these guys.
Well, you know, you were talking the other day, and you're so good with your statistics that means something, Dick. But 17% of all the plays in a football game are special team plays.
That's right. They average about 28 plays a game.
And if you're good at it,
If you're good at it, by gosh, the special teams will win. We used to figure, just all the way back in my career, starting with George Allen, that we had to win 2 football games a year because of a great play in special teams, whether it be a return, whether it be a great coverage that caused the fumble, a great long field goal. One phase of the kicking game was going to have to win us 2, independent of the rest of the team.
and the young man you're looking at right here, I don't know if anybody's nailed more people late with those 35 to 40-yard field goals than Raphael Septien.
He's made 8 of 12 in the final part of the ball game when it was tied or he needed 3 points to win.
Just tacked one up from 27 yards out. The blooper kick down inside the 35, falling on at the 34, and that surely is the last play of the first half. Dominated by the Dallas Cowboys. Dallas 17, Detroit nothing. Half. Hunter and Bland waiting for it. This is going to be Herman Hunter a yard deep in the end zone. Hunter is almost tripped up and is finally smothered under at the 15-yard line. Good coverage by the special teams for Dallas. Victor Scott down quickly under that.
Look at that, Tom. They haven't moved the ball. Fumble, fumble, punt, punt, fumble, punt. They combine the stat.
Joe Ferguson is in, a veteran of 14 seasons out of Arkansas, went to Buffalo. One of the all-time throwers, and Hipple will watch at least for a while.
Hipple will do the signaling of the plays to Ferguson. Ferguson throws the ball, Tom, about as well as I ever have seen a quarterback throw the ball in the practice field.
Joe Ferguson's first call on 1st and 10. It's a play-action pass. Screen in the side, and Jones drops the ball at the 16.
James Jones did not practice all week because he had the flu. Joe Ferguson missed a couple days with the flu. That takes a lot out of your preparation for a football game.
This guy's an old gun hand, though. I used to think when he would take Buffalo and Chuck Knox's teams into the playoffs that he could play hurt. He was tough. He was not a rag arm. He's got a good, strong delivery.
If he has a knock against him, they'd say he throws a few too many interceptions over his career.
2nd down and 10. Ferguson in. The I formation behind him is Jones and James. Dallas looks like they're coming. They do. The blitz is on. Ferguson throws it to James, and he drops it. Not an easy catch, however.
You're going to see on this Enzo replay, Eugene Lockhart, number 56, in the middle of your screen, dogging the center block to one side. The running back, Jones, tried to pick him up, could not get there. Here comes also Ed Too Tall Jones, number 22. Good job of dogging by Eugene Lockhart.
To me, like Dallas, maybe that's starting a week early and playing the Bears over in England, the 0-5 record. Maybe all that action helped this team.
Maybe, Tom.
They're prepared. 3rd down and 10. Ferguson's got to be careful. Good strike to Chadwick, and it's dropped. Ferguson is 0 for 3, and he hit all 3 receivers.
You know, I'm surprised they weren't in the shotgun that time. If there is an advantage in terms of the shotgun, you use it against Dallas because of the tall people that they use as rushers, and you're back further when you get the ball. Tom, that time they were not in the shotgun.
Now, Mike Black, who had the unfortunate thing with his left foot catching, will have to kick from about the 2-yard line. What do you do with your next kick after that?
He will go ahead and punt it efficiently, I believe, because, like I said, I don't believe he's a choke artist.
Levette is back waiting. It's an average kick, I'll tell you that. It hits at the 47. Levette has it at the 44-yard line of Dallas. Good coverage. No return, and the punt was well covered by the Lions.
Good punt coverage.
Don't forget, following this game, that great rivalry on the West Coast, San Francisco and the Rams. Each won last week. Great coaches, Johnny Robinson and, of course, Bill Walsh. Montana won't play, but Kemp will. Dickerson will show up for the Rams.
And if you look at Bill Walsh as an offensive football coach as well as the head coach, when he didn't play Montana, they still found a way to win.
Yeah, Kavanaugh won game that year against the Eagles when they went 15-1. 1st and 10 call. I formation for the Cowboys and Danny White. Play action. This is Tony Hill. Somehow glides to the 41-yard line of Detroit. Mitchell's.
That play action froze the linebackers, then they just throw the little hitch and make him now a running back. Just getting the ball quickly and let him make these people miss for the 1st down.
And, you know, he's a glider. He never hurries anything, and if you go up in a hurry trying to tackle him, he'll sort of scrape off of you and make extra yardage. A 16-yarder for Thrill Hill, number 80. Yeah, Dorsett wasn't going to play. He's played the whole game. Amazing how fast they recuperate on Sunday. 1st and 10. Misdirection handoff to Dorsett. He's got a hole. Dorsett tries to run over the defensive back at the 35. McNorton.
Here's what Dorsett is so good at, fans. Starting in one direction. Now watch him set. Little counter action. Let the lineman come around on their blocking. Now look at drop his center of gravity. Now watch him do it once again. See him move, break back against the grain. He does that as well as about any fullback or running back, rather, in the National Football League.
And Posteric, the big left tackle, came all the way over for that trap play block for it.
Did a nice job.
43 yards for Tony D. He has never had 100 against the Detroit Lions. 2nd down 3. Play action to Tony Hill. Hill somehow slithers to the 23.5-yard line.
Tom, that was a quick screen pass. That time they were trying to get big Posteric at 6'9" out in front of Tony Hill. Now, fans, watch the fake inside to freeze the defenders. Now you're going to follow the offensive line to the right of your screen. See them running along out there. Posteric is trying to get out there. You'll see him appear late to get a block, number 75. Just couldn't get there fast enough. Good defense by Bobby Watkins, number 27.
11-yard gain as Danny White plays cat and mouse with those linebackers, and the coverage is by Detroit. Hill has 5 catches. 1st and 10 call. Tony Dorsett. If he got a yard, he will be at 11,000 yards. Let's see if he made a yard. Angelo King, former Cowboy, tackled him.
Mr. Dorsett, when he gets that 14,000-yard mark, Tom, he'll have run the football, running and receiving yards, for 8 miles in the National Football League in his career. That puts it in perspective, does it not?
It does. 1 more yard. There was no gain on that. We better get a headset and tell Tony he's got to run for that 1 yard quickly. 2nd down and 10. Ball's on the Detroit 24. Danny White, Wangle screening. Now he's going to cross the middle. Eric Williams with the interception. Danny White should never have thrown that one.
What you're going to see here is the quarterback, as he drops back, fake the ball one way. Now watch him fake the ball one way, faking a pass. Now he comes back and he fakes the screen. Now he wants to run a check down pass. He does not see Eric Williams, number 76, moving off the nose guard. He was trying to get the ball to Doug Cosby, and very seldom do you ever see a nose guard move into pass defense. He was trying a wide stunt. Here he comes around, a wide stunt, and it ended up in the passing lane.
He's batted down 2 balls today and had his first career interception. What a day for Williams. 1st and 10, Ferguson, the quarterback, number 12, on play action. He's got some time this time. Chadwick's open. Incomplete.
Doesn't he throw the ball effortlessly? I mean, it just looks so easy for him to flip that ball 50, 60 yards.
Of course, he doesn't hit the receiver sometimes.
Well,
a little bit wide that time.
Yeah, that's for sure.
There's Eric Williams. He just spent the whole summer over on the Great Barrier Reef in Australia, and I wonder how he and those Aussies got along.
I asked him if he went hunting. He said, yes, girl hunting.
Pretty honest fella, isn't he?
Yes. Right to the point.
282 pounds of honesty. 2nd down and 10. Good throw by Ferguson. He just missed Chadwick, who was running the corner. 2 interceptions for Danny White. Ferguson gets some time, and Jones has it. Short of a 1st down, at the 34-yard line. Hegman made sure that Jones was out.
Nice guy. That was a design rollout by the quarterback. Now, he was not flushed out of the pocket. That was a design play, blocked accordingly.
You know, he's 6'1", 196 pounds, and with the people the size of him today, he looks like a midget.
I know it.
I mean, he really looks like somebody that's undersized, and he's taller than the normal man in America. 3rd down, and call it 2 yards. Detroit needs to get some offense humming. Ferguson's call. It's a rollout sprint pass, and he's rushed. I started to say intercepted by Bates, and it was too easy. A lot of pressure on Ferguson.
Joe threw this ball under extreme duress. He's coming out again on a rollout. Gary James, number 32, protecting. Here comes too tall, inside out. Number 72 had to throw it over that 6'8" guy. That's tough to do. Tough to make a living in this league under that kind of situation.
And of course, we didn't see it, but Peg Leg Bates, we call him, the mad hitter for Dallas, simply put the ball in the ground and missed catching it. Mike Black is back for another punt. Lovett is back for another return. This is the 5th punt for Mike Black. Pretty fair kick. Lovett at the 29-yard line. Lovett makes the corner. Good run back right into the Dallas bench to the 42-yard line by Lovett. The rambling wreck from Georgia Tech. Dallas 17, Detroit nothing. The Silver Dome. And joining us in the booth up here right now was Billy Sims. Billy's going to crowd in here real fast just so we can get a shot of the greatest rusher of all time for the Detroit Lions. Billy, what'd you think about your friend James getting 174 yards last week against Minnesota?
I told him, when you keep that pace up, they won't miss me at all.
They'll miss you. They'll always miss you.
Hey, you're dressing better, I'll tell you that. Oh,
we'll get you in this business pretty quick. We'll put you to work fast. Nice to see you, Billy Sims. We go back to live action. Dorsett getting a toss, gets to the 45-yard line. And I am notified that I was in error, that he needed 101 yards for 11,000. So before we carry Tony D off with 11,000 yards,
give me the award.
Quite a guy, though, for last Tuesday when he wasn't going to be able to ever walk and talk again.
Well, you were down there visiting with him.
That day, he said, you know, I don't miss many games. Only 3 all the time I've been with the Cowboys have I missed. And this is 93 in a row he has started. 2nd down, 7. Misdirection, inside handoff. Dorsett finds a little hole, gets to midfield. Somehow he found the crack in there. Maxwell making another tackle.
If you can direct your attention to the center of your screen, the offensive center, number 64, Rafferty, does a nice job of turning the nose guard, allowing that little hole to appear to the left side of the center. Good job, Tom Rafferty.
And it's 3rd and short. The great call for quarterbacks and offensive coordinators. 3rd and a couple. You can almost open the book up. Rafferty is the center. He hasn't missed a Cowboy game either. It's a pass on 3rd and short. 1st down to Cosby. The flags are down. Cosby gets to the Detroit 40. It was back in the secondary area, so McCarter will tell us.
I think they're calling Cosby for ricocheting off the defender, sort of shoving off. Let's see. Hello, Paul. Will you please call a touchdown pass for me?
Let's see what McCarter's offensive pass interference. Number 84, we read lips. Doug Cosby.
Let's take a look at it, Tom, and see if we can make the call. To the right of the screen, number 84, coming off the line of scrimmage, up the hash mark, works inside. He shoves right there and ricochets off. That's a very typical move. It's not called very often.
You think that the interest isn't up this year in the NFL? They sold 77,776 tickets today for this game here at the Silverdome. Everybody's following a team. And the Dallas Cowboys, I've got to say this, they're followed all over the country. 3rd down and 12. Not such a good call for the quarterback. White gets away, and he dumps it to number 34, Herschel Walker. The flags are down. I thought I saw a flag down, but let's see. Herschel Walker got the 1st down, I believe. He's a load to tackle at high speed.
I think he went out of bounds and then came back in the field to play. I'm not sure. Let's see what the ruling.
He would be an illegal receiver. Defensive holding. The play's going to hold. How did Danny White scramble? That was shades of Roger the Dodger style.
He was fortunate. He was fortunate he wasn't called in the grass. William Gay, number 79, had beaten Phil Posdick around the outside. Posderick, rather. And flushed him out there to the right.
When a team has you 17-0, you saw Darryl Rogers there, nothing goes right. It seems like, you know, it's one penalty after another.
You just can't make mistakes against the Dallas Cowboys. Any team, for that matter. But when you make them against Dallas, you're in trouble.
Darryl Rogers went over and checked with Jack Fetty to say, what in the world was that? 1st and 10 Dallas as Danny White plays Houdini. High formation. Newsom and Dorsett on the misdirection. Dorsett breaking to the outside, gets to the 32-yard line with Harrell on his back.
This is the eye draw play, Tom, that Dorsett runs so well over the years. I bet you I've seen him run that thing 50 times against the Philadelphia Eagles. Take a look at that again now from the end zone. The quarterback will come back, reverse pivot, get the ball deeply. See the lead back, number 30, go through and get the linebacker. That's Newsom blocking on Harrell. There goes Dorsett into the backfield, into the open field, and he does such a great job in the open field. Take a look at it again from ground level. He's scooting right there. Oh. Angelo King, number 92, moving over. Harrell ends up making the play, number 58.
A 16-yard burst, 67 yards on 18 carries. We may get 11,000 yet. It's our 1st and down. 1st and 10, Newsom inside the 30. Let's go to New York for an NFL update with Brent Musburger.
Well, Brookie, here's the play that may have turned a game around. Buddy's old buddy, the Fridge, number 72, strips the ball from Byers, the rookie running back for the Eagles. Dan Hampton pounces on it. The Bears have scored moments ago. Walter Payton plunging in from the 1-yard line. Their first lead in the game. 7-3. They've just kicked the extra point. Let's go back to Detroit, and here's Tom Brookshier.
Okay, Brent, thank you. Boy, the Eagles playing the game of their lives against those Bears. Danny White now on 2nd down 8, rolls out. Cosby almost makes a great catch, defended well by McNorton. And Danny White was really shelled after he got that one off.
He did a good job of, again, under pressure, did a nice job of throwing the ball accurately under that pressure situation, but Bruce McNorton did an equally fine job of playing pass defense on the big Cosby.
Now, most of the times when you have 2 interceptions, you come pretty close to losing that football game, don't you?
Tom, last year you throw 2 interceptions in the ball game, you lose 76% of the time.
Of course, in this case, the Cowboys have come up with some turnovers of their own to offset that factor.
That's right.
Huh? Danny White on 3rd down and 7. Can he get out of another tight situation? Detroit will be coming. He's being chased. The former San Diego Charger gets the sack. Keith Ferguson.
That's his 2nd sack in this very young season, playing defensive right end in the nickel defense, coming around hard to the outside. Coming around, he'll appear late. Here he comes around the left side of your screen, does a nice job of getting to the quarterback. I think it was Posderick, again, number 75, that was having the problem.
Remember, Ferguson fought Tommy Kramer, the Minnesota quarterback, last week.
Yeah, he did.
Almost lost. Kramer fought pretty well. Mike Saxon having a very good day kicking. He'll be kicking for the Dallas 45. And Pete Manley waits.
Nice punt, Tom.
Nice high kick. Manley can't handle. He's going to get away from it. Here goes the race. Oh, into the Detroit end zone. Good kick by Saxon. A 40-yard punt, but it'll come out to the 20. Detroit has the ball with 6 left in the 3rd quarter. You're looking at Keith Dorney, the 288-pounder from Penn State, the all-pro tackle, moved to guard. He's had 7 operations. He's had both shoulders worked on, the wrist and ankle twice operated on both hands. He's had ribs, toes. He had an orthopedic surgery done on his back, and he was mad because he couldn't play with an arthritic knee today. Flags were flying there as Keith Dorney got to his feet. And McCarter's crew, and they have been very busy.
You know, Tom, getting back to Keith Dorney, so many times people have the idea that the only reason they play football in this league is to make a living. But you could read in Dorney's face and how he felt yesterday that he was just upset he couldn't play, regardless of money.
75 offense.
Lomas Brown detected for rolling out of that stance. You're looking at Keith Dorney. He's what I call a throw forward. They say throwback, but I just think that Keith Dorney could have played whatever game it is at any time on this planet. He is a very intense, hard-working individual.
You know, people don't realize, you know, that guy was an academic All-American at Penn State in a fine, in a fine school.
And represents himself financially with the Detroit Lions front office, which is pretty good defense. 1st and 15 facing Ferguson and Detroit. Inside handoff. James Jones, who's been pretty quiet today, maybe makes a couple of yards to the 20. New Orleans, Jimmy Mora might get his first win today in the National Football League. Atlanta having trouble with St. Louis, but still on top. Giants must have stopped Fouts' aerial circus. That one's not over with yet. Cleveland now on top of Houston. 2nd down and 10. Joe Ferguson, the quarterback for Detroit. Across the middle, intercepted. Oh! Bill Bates knocks down his 2nd pass.
That was not a real good read by Joe Ferguson. He should have not thrown that football because Bates was moving over to help on the pattern right off the bat. Not a good throw. Straight back pass. You don't throw the ball down the hole if you have safety help to the inside. The ball was tipped right there. There's the safety. Bill Bates dropping his 2nd interception on the day.
He must have boxing gloves on or something. Let's look at his hands. Get a close-up of his hand.
Oh, he does have. Look at that, one hand is all taped up. Good call.
He got a broken finger, remember, against the Giants. And that's taped up, and that's the reason those 2 passes have bounced off there. Detroit is 0 for 7 for third down pickups. Ferguson, the arm was going forward, incomplete pass. Too tall Jones almost took the shoulder off.
He sits in there nicely, under duress, gets back there nicely. I can't understand why they're not using the shotgun now. I know it's part of their offense. He sits there. Now you're going to see Jeff Coates, 77, powering his way. Here comes Too Tall around the back door, puts him down. Boy. His arm definitely was moving forward.
Ed Jones is having some good year on that defensive line. Mike Black now with his 7th punt, I believe, of the day. Detroit 5. A low kick. Lavette watches it roll. It's going to be down to about the inside the 30-yard line.
The fans are chanting, "We want Long," their #1 draft choice. That was a late signee. Number 16, Chuck Long, the #1 pick.
A 52-yard punt, no return. I wonder if Chuck wants to go in.
I doubt it.
Dallas 17-0. You're looking at Rob Rubik, the tight end, who was in the hospital. Dick, he's had a tough week.
In the hospital for 3 days. His team's having problems. Not as big a problem. He comes out of the hospital yesterday to go to practice, and someone stole his car out of the parking lot.
Out of the hospital lot?
Out of the hospital parking lot.
He's
Nothing
back.
sacred in Detroit.
I know, and he's back, obviously, a little bit better off from his infection, but he had to get a cab to get to practice. He was hot. Herschel Walker has caught 5 catches for 35 yards. The crowd is trying to get into this game. 1st and 10, Dallas. Dorsett. Dorsett will quiet the crowd out to the 34-yard line. That usually stops the waves and everything.
Watch the left tackle, number 71, Mark Tuyane, in this case. Block kicks out. The left guard is moving through. Titensword does a nice job, gets a nice running lane there for Dorsett to make another 8-9-yard gain. I love that play.
Tuyane's in there for Posteric, isn't he?
Yes, playing left tackle now. He's been a defensive lineman part of this year as well. Out of the University of Hawaii, free agent in 1983.
Big Samoan, huh?
Yes, sir.
2nd down 4. The crowd very loud here at the Silverdome. Inside play, bounced outside. Dorsett to the 40, 1st down. Let's go to New York City. Brent Musburger and the NFL Today.
Well, Brookie, the Eagles are hanging in there. Here is 3rd and 1, and Tomczak throws the ball out of the end zone. Ditka's was furious afterwards. The Bears settle for a Butler field goal, and right now they lead the Eagles 10-3, still in the 3rd. Back to Brookie and Dick.
What was supposed to be, Brent, a grudge match, but players don't have time for grudges. They usually just go out and tee it up and play as well as they can. The coaches and press talk about grudges.
Yeah, the media makes the most of it.
1st and 10 pass, Danny White. He was rushed, but gets it to Cosby. Cosby with another 1st down.
Danny White was throwing that ball to Herschel Walker, number 34. Boy, that's luck. Cosby, a tight end, intercepts his own pass. That's hard to do.
He was tried for Herschel?
Yeah, watch at the bottom of your screen. Number 84 comes off inside release. Now he breaks to the outside. Now you'll see him right across in front. Takes that ball away from Herschel Walker for his own interception.
Good
Have you ever seen an offensive interception? Good pressure on Danny White. He did a good job of getting it away. Mr.
William
Gay, number 79, Tom.
He comes late. That Tuyanei better get on him and make sure he doesn't kill the quarterback. Danny White, straight drop back to the quick draw to Dorsett to the 47-yard line.
Boy, this is tough on a young guy like Mark Tuyane, number 71, to come in there and have to play on the guy that is the reason the other tackle's not playing. And he was the starter. William Gay has given him problems, and they had to take out Posteric for one reason or another. I don't think he was injured. But now you put the younger, inexperienced offensive lineman in there to solve the problem. That's a headache sometimes, Tom.
2nd down and 7. Dorsett with 82 yards on 21 carries. White being rushed. Now he has time and overthrows Number 86, Sherrard, the rookie from UCLA who can really run.
Here's Mr. Sherrard. This guy goes from a walk-on in college at UCLA to a #1 draft choice. That should inspire any young high school athlete. He's also a very fine student. He was all Pac-10 academic-wise, as well as an All-American football player.
So he was also the holding on Bobby Watkins, number 27. Sherrard, by the way, was also the fastest receiver in the draft this year, which must put him in the 4.3 category or a little bit.
Or he's somewhere around there. Nowadays, with these digital timers, they give you the 4.219.6, you know, rather than just 4.6, 4.5, 4.4 type thing.
You mean with the old sweep seconds, we didn't cheat on it, huh? First and 10, ball's on the 43-yard line of Detroit. The lone back is Dorsett. The pass is over to Tony Hill. Hill is hung up at the 35 by McNorton. Looked like Hill looked over his shoulder and saw all the Lions coming out and decided this one's over.
Dallas is using their formations intelligently, Tom. That time they get in a loaded formation to the right side of their offense, forcing the defense to come over there. Then they throw just a little one-on-one quick out away from the strength of the defense.
Looks like Landry is very much involved. Now, don't forget, following this game, the Dallas-Detroit game, San Francisco against the Los Angeles Rams. Wow. Good afternoon here on CBS. Second down 3. Dorsett straight ahead. Looks like a first down from here.
They tried a little tackle trap that time, Tom, pulling Tuyane back to the inside to get a trap block. Didn't work. Good defense.
How good is Kerr going to be at right guard for Dallas? He looks like he might be a fixture for about the next 8 or 10 years out there.
From what I read, they say he's going to be a fine offensive guard. Here he was, an offensive tackle, a teammate of the offensive tackle 75 playing for Detroit Lions, Mr. Lomas Brown. But
he's 290 some odd pounds, right?
Bench presses 540 pounds. Can you believe that?
That's a Dallas record. That beats Randy White's old record. He's strong. They're going to need him. It's third down and about a foot for Dallas.
You know, the other thing about him, he takes karate lessons. What's a guy that can bench press 540 pounds take karate lessons for, huh?
He doesn't want to open the door up with a knob, I guess. It's Dallas 17-0 over Detroit. Third and short.
Your attention, please.
Chris Dietrich, who started at left guard, but he had that bad knee all braced up, just couldn't do it, huh, today?
And that might be one of the reasons they're not running the ball well, because both, as we said earlier, Tom, both starting guards, 290-pound players, are sitting on the bench.
Yeah, that's true. And the Dallas defense obviously is taking advantage of that, and they're tough to run against
Anyway.
Yeah. 25 rushes for the Cowboys, 95 yards. Dorsett has 84. It's third and a foot. That's short yardage offense. Hit for a loss is Herschel Walker. And that was Steve Bach.
Steve Bach has been working at offensive guard. That's how thin they are in the offensive line. He plays tight end in the short yardage offense. Here he is, and they consider him one of their best short yardage goal line defensive linemen too, Tom.
Didn't they put him in and give him the ball one time on one of those William Refrigerator Perry plays this year? I heard he was in as a blocker.
They did something like, he was in as a blocker, I know, in the preseason games.
They didn't let him touch the ball. Next year he gets the ball. Fourth down now and 4. And they're calling for Chuck Long, the quarterback, the next time the Lions have the offensive side. There he is.
He likes it. He's enjoying that, Tom. Yell louder, he's saying.
Might be a pleasant sound, but going out to face the Cowboys, your first shot in this league is a rude way to come in.
Well, as late as he reported to training camp, there would be no way he would be ready to play. His receiver, while he was holding out, was his dad, and I don't believe his dad can run quite as well as these receivers.
That's true. Kent Mills, his agent, though, got together, of course, with Russ Thomas.
Yeah.
Offense, 5-yard penalty, still fourth down.
The Cowboys taking a 5-yard penalty just so the punter Saxon will have a little better shot at the corner. Extra room. Chuck Long is being called down. He might be getting ready to loosen up.
He'd say, Coach, you're kidding me, aren't you?
He's going to be a great quarterback. That's Manley waiting for this punt if he gets a chance to handle it. Saxon pooches it straight up in the air. Manley's going to have to let it go. Here goes the race. This time it takes a Detroit bounce, and the Lions will have it at the 21. That's the end of the third quarter. The score, Dallas 17, Detroit nothing. We now pause for a word from your local station. The Dallas Cowboy offense in the third quarter had 7 first downs. The Detroit offense had none.
Well, the Detroit offense only had 6 first downs in this first half, Tom, 2 of them by penalty.
Dallas has kept Detroit out of their territory except for 2 times in the first half. In their territory. Here's Ferguson running, throwing, and completing the pass to Lewis, the tight end. Ferguson is now 2 of 9, but keep in mind that number 12 had 3 dropped in a row the first series.
Look at this score, Tom, 10-10. Can you imagine? Buddy's got him going.
Maybe it is a grudge fight. Good football this year. Attendance was up in preseason. Television Nielsen ratings were up in preseason, and it looks to me like really a great year of football. We all have that Super Bowl here on CBS in Pasadena in January. Dallas thinks they might get there. 2nd down and 4. Ferguson is nailed by Jeffcoat at the 10-yard line. The play was an aborted play from the very start.
You're going to see cross backfield action as you watch the screen to the right side now. Here comes Jeffcoat, number 77. He's not fake. The running back, number 30, tries to pick him up. Can't do it. Another man comes after him. Here he is right on the quarterback. Good job by Jim Jeffcoat. That's his 2nd sack for the year.
He played for Darrell Rogers at Arizona State. That doesn't seem like that's nice to do to your old coach.
Yeah.
Randy White.
Look at Randy. Look at it. He's getting ready. I'm coming after you there, Mr. Quarterback.
He loves the 4th quarter of football. Everybody else is tired. 3rd down and 13. Ferguson sprinting to the left. Overthrowing everybody. Let's go to New York City and Brent Musburger. Brent?
Well, Brookie and Dick, here's the touchdown that did it for the Eagles. It was 3rd and 6 out of the shotgun. Jaworski hits quick. And after the McFadden extra point, they go to 10 with 13.5 minutes left in regulation. What a day for Buddy Ryan. Let's go back to Brookie and Dick.
Wow. Wow, Brent, they have just about the same time there at Soldier Field as we do here. 13.5 or 13:43 left in this game. Black is back to punt from the end zone. As we said, the Lions have only been in Dallas territory twice the whole game. A bad punt.
I'll tell you something, that bad punt that he got early in the ballgame, that time he stumbled, I think has shook him up a little bit.
It's like snap hooking your driver, you know, the stroke is gone.
Yeah.
A 28-yard punt. Dallas 17-0. Not a grudge game, but certainly traditional. The Notre Dame Fighting Irish under Lou Holtz, and that Berline's a good-looking quarterback, against Michigan State here on CBS at 2:30 Eastern Time. And if you haven't seen Lorenzo White run, make sure you do next Saturday right here on CBS. Dallas with good field position, 41.5-yard line. Danny White has been the leader. He has 2 interceptions, but he's in control. And Dorsett is certainly not hurt today. Play action pass. Newsom cracks to the 34-yard line, puts his head down.
Boy, 76, Eric Williams, the nose guard, is really playing hard, Tom. He was the 2nd man to make the hit on that pass reception out here on the sideline. Very intense play by Eric Williams, number 76.
You know, I was in Dallas to do those interviews, and then I went over to Roswell, my old hometown, and played in a hospital golf fund. General Childress there at the Institute, and Charlie Reed, and we raised $200,000 in Roswell for the hospital in my hometown.
In one golf tournament?
As badly as I play golf, but that was a great charity. It's fun to go back home again.
It
2nd down and 3. Facing the Cowboys. Uh-oh, Dorsett breaks it. Tony Dorsett. Touchdown. Bobby Watkins grabbed the shoulder pads, and Tony Dorsett took him for a ride. And listen, I don't care what you've ever heard, there are not many greater running backs in the history of this league than Tony Dorsett that I've ever seen.
Phil Posderick, the offensive left tackle there, to the right side of your screen. See him step around there. He's blocking on Harrell, 58, kicks out, gets a nice block from Rafferty, 64. Now it's this innate running of speed and ability that gets him in the end zone for the nice long run and touchdown.
81st touchdown for number 33, a 34-yard burst.
In his career, Tom, he's scored a touchdown every 27th carry in his career. That's very good.
October the 20th of last year, he had 100 in Philadelphia. This is the first time he's ever had 100 against Detroit. And what are the numbers when he gets 100 rushing?
Well, the Dallas Cowboys with Dorsett at 100 yards are 41 wins and 3 losses. It could be 42 wins today. But that's not unusual, Tom. The last 3 years in the National Football League, 70% of the teams that had a running back that ran for 100 yards or more won that football game.
The main thing is the clock is running and the other team doesn't have their offense on the field while you're getting the ground yardage, huh?
That's right.
Tony Dorsett.
They didn't give him the touchdown, Tom. They put it on the 1-foot line.
You've got to be kidding.
You know, personally, from looking at that from here, it looked like he bounced his way into the end zone, and I was surprised that they signaled touchdown.
No
I wonder
touchdown.
if that was called recalled from the press box here with the instant replay.
A little bit of time elapsed, didn't it, before
Yes.
Gordon McCarter made the announcement. I'm not even sure the crowd here like that.
The referee is calling for the quarterback. Tom had him on the sideline. Here it is. Let's take a look, Tom. Let's see if he scored. He breaks into the open. Now the safety's going to come over and try to make the play. That's Bobby Watkins, the corner, number 27. He gets him there. Let's see if he's down. Oh, he's definitely down. Well, I didn't say definitely. I wouldn't say definitely.
That ball was over the line.
Ball.
Randy Logan, your old defensive back, is here, and he thought it was good, too.
Well, Randy would have said, hey, I'd have planted him on the 2.
Short yardage. Danny White gets the touchdown. Now the hands are up. Well, if that wasn't a touchdown, I never had anybody run over me in this league when I played with the Eagles.
What was that again, Tom?
I had a few run over me is what I was trying to say. 12-17 left in the fourth quarter.
Good old quarterback sneak. Jumped up over the top. Here he goes. Breaks the plane of the end zone. Touchdown.
That was closer than the one Dorsett almost scored on.
Look at it. He's feeling good. Look at that.
He should be. He's taking control. Good. As we said, he is very composed.
This guy has an exceptionally good career going for him. And, you know, he lives in the shadow of Roger Staubach back there.
Well, and he really
hadn't won the Super Bowl with him.
And he loves Roger a lot. But, you know, Roger is a great legend. And this young man has done everything but win the ultimate game. And that may happen one of these days. They did use the instant replay, we're told, to decide whether Dorsett's run had broken the plane of the goal line. And the machine upstairs said no. Tony Dorsett told me that he never had any feelings about Herschel personally at all, but he did sort of step out of line and give Tex a jolt by saying he wanted, you know, the money thing. Yeah. I guess Garrison said that when they probably signed Dorsett.
Yeah, because I guarantee you that, well, I can't guarantee you, but I would believe that he probably came into the league making more money than someone who was carrying the ball for a long time at Dallas. But the one thing that was, I thought, really pertinent to the conversation last night that we had with Herschel was that he and Dorsett are buddies.
Yeah, they are.
You know, he said that already, but they're buddies, and Dorsett has really helped him. I keep wanting to go all the way back to say Dorsett.
Well, you know, I remember when Landry didn't start him till like the third game of the season, and he was putting him in like in the second quarter, and Preston Pearson was doing really the ground gaining, and they didn't know if he was going to be a starter. And the first day they started him, he blew the doors off the Giants, I believe it was, and it's been running ever since. Smooth
That's
motor
1977, wasn't it?
77. Sempian's kickoff. Not too deep. This is going to be Bland at the 10. Bland has a big hole. Good tackle at the 33-yard line. Number 26, Michael Downs, kept number 80 from getting to the sideline.
I'll tell you, Michael Downs is one of those free agents. There's 3 free agents in the Dallas Cowboys secondary, Tom. That is just amazing. It just shows you how efficient that they are in their drafting procedures and the evaluation of talent. Everson Walls, 24, Bill Bates, 40, Michael Downs, 26. And you know, Tom, Well, I'll get to this after the play.
Because Thurman's gone and Clinkscale didn't come back. That's a new secondary back there. Ferguson is 2 of 10. Inside handoff. James Jones. Boy, he kept running that time out over the 40-yard line, carrying people with him.
Second down and 4 from the 41.
Tom, I was talking to you about the free agents. You know, last year at the end of the season in 1985, there were 18 active free agents in the league that had played in at least one Pro Bowl.
18 in the Pro Bowl?
Yeah. Here's 2 of them right here. They've both been in the Pro Bowl. Has Downs been in the Pro Bowl yet?
Bates went, yeah. And Downs. Bates went as a hatchet man.
Yeah, I don't.
Jones has 32 yards, and he's going to add to it. Jones to the 46. He looks like he wants to put some numbers up. Bates made the tackle there.
You know, what's hurt Detroit a lot is the delayed action type passing they've used on first down, Tom. They're getting too much penetration from the Dallas pass rush, and it's hard to throw that kind of stuff. And coaching against him as a head coach for 7 years, I didn't spend much time throwing delayed type stuff against the Dallas type rush because we were not successful.
And you know, you get behind Dallas too, that first fumble and then Dorsett's touchdown, and you know Detroit was looking down the gun barrel from the first quarter on. And Ferguson has been in there in the second half, but to no avail. Misdirection, fumbled by Jones. I believe Dallas has it. Let's see.
Yes, they got it.
Jones is a sure-handed ball carrier, and it bounced off his thigh guards, it looked like. And Jesse Penn recovered it.
I don't think the ball was ever seated firmly. Now watch the fullback to the right side of your screen as he steps to his left. You can see right there now it goes in there. The ball was actually not placed firmly for one reason or another. A second quarterback working with a first fullback, maybe not enough practice repetition.
And Jones might have been looking to see if Randy White and Jeff Coat were blocked or if they were.
Good point, Coach.
Boy, they can get your attention on that side. You got Ed and Dutton on the other side.
You turn the ball over, you lose. That's all there is to it in this game.
Right in the middle of this beautiful Silver Dome here in Pontiac, Michigan. That's where Dallas has the ball. Herschel Walker's first carry. I believe that's his second carry of the day. Straight ahead. He does not have a lot of movement to either side.
Just straight up the field is tremendous.
Tremendous speed, and I watched him get on the scales at 216 the other day. And he is cut from a certain mold that you'll never see again, maybe. He's the fastest big man that's ever been in this game. 9-1 for the 100-yard dash. That's a turbo. Second down 4. He picked up 6 on that, and it looked like he only made a yard. Play action, White has it spiked. Intended for Newsom. I believe Jimmy Williams got a hand on it.
Again, a delayed action backfield. Pulling the lineman. Here comes Titanser, number 63, to get the block. Gets it out. He's trying to lay it up over there, and there's Jimmy Williams reaching with his right hand and batting the ball out of the line of flight of the receiver.
Am I wrong, or are the Cowboys a pretty intelligent, smart football team?
Well, they are. They always have been. It's not unique today. I mean, they always have been. Their disadvantage sometimes is they lose their mental concentration and take somebody lightly and then get beat.
Well, they look aggressive and sharp to me. White is 20 of 31. The blitz is on. Herschel Walker runs a draw. Look out, folks. Inside the 10-yard line in a hurry. Bobby Watkins and other people tried to head him off.
I believe this was an audible. I think Danny White saw the red dog coming and he audible. Now watch the trap blocking occur up in front. Left guard pulling and trapping. There's a nice hole. Look at that hole, Tom. He's up there. Now watch him sink his level of gravity right there. Sink his hips, get down and give him a little shake and break. Devon Mitchell, number 31, the free safety, just found out that he is a rookie. Here he goes, Bobby Watkins, the corner coming over, number 27, to make the play.
He runs like the Amtrak. That's a 34-yarder.
Did you see him sink those hips and then give him a little shake and break?
I sure did.
Just like you.
Yeah, same move. And it's just beginning. First and goal from the 9. They jumped but got back. Herschel pulled down from behind by Angelo King. Is he tough?
I guess he is. I mean, he's carried the ball as many times as he's carried it. You know, in the USFL, he carried it for 5,000, or college rather, 5,259 yards. Then in the USFL, look what he did. Yeah, he's tough.
Well, but USFL, you know, it's not like tag in the park, but it's not like the National Football League.
No, it's not. It's not. Though I asked Herschel that question, and he said he didn't notice any difference.
He wouldn't. Second down and goal. The ball's at the 7. They shift to the I, loosens the fullback. And Herschel's the tailback. Now the crowd here at the Silverdome is applauding this because he's playing with a different ball.
If I were a Dallas Cowboy, I'd want to walk off the field with that guy too. Here he is, getting the ball deep in the backfield, gets a kick-out block from his fullback, gets his pads down, gets through there, ricochets off one tackler, James Harrell, number 58. You have to hit that man straight on and get some help, or he's not going to go down. The only place he ends up is in the end zone.
And he backs up quickly too. He spun around and made it. Pallur is holding, Septian is kicking, and the crowd is buzzing. I'm trying to think of a better 5th-round draft choice in the history of this game.
That's for sure. Here we are taking another look at it. You can see 58 now. James Harrell moving over to make the play as a linebacker. Thinks he's going to tackle just any running back. Normal running back. There he goes. Herschel ducks underneath him, runs over the top of the free safety into the end zone. Touchdown. Oh, I'm glad I don't have to tackle him.
Line up for the extra point when he carries it. A lot of people were speculating about Herschel and Tony Dorsett being on the same team, and I talked to Herschel earlier in the week, and I found him charming. We'll get to that after this kick because he was one of the real easy interviews I ever did. Okay, we're going to run back to kickoff. Here's Herman Hunter at the 2. Hunter straight ahead gets on an opening and out to the 35-yard line. Herman Hunter just back off the waiver sheets as a good run back. Michael Downs made the tackle. Last time the Cowboys scored a shutout was regular season game was 1978. They shut Baltimore out 38-0. Wow.
I tell you, it's tough to shut anybody out in the National Football League.
In the later, I think they shut out Tampa Bay or somebody, didn't they? In the strike year of 82.
That was.
Ferguson handing off to James. James has speed, gets the corner, and is knocked out at the 45-yard line of Dallas.
Good speed by Gary James. You're going to see the ball handed off deep into the backfield. James Jones, number 30, leading, gets a nice block right there, kicks out. The defense is sealed off inside. Now he's just using his speed to get out there, and the corner has to make the play. And now Victor Scott, number 22, coming over and making his first tackle of the year, just coming off injury.
That's the 3rd time the Lions have been in Dallas territory this afternoon. And James got it with a good run. Reverse handoff. Jones gets to the 42-yard line. I couldn't remember James Jones's name when Billy Sims came in because they've got Gary James and James Jones. They call them the James brothers, you know, and they're going to be really a good duo there to run in that backfield. They're going to be really good.
Speed and
rushing.
power.
Yeah.
Then you got a guy like Herschel Walker, and he's got both in the same body. You know?
This telecast is presented by authority of the National Football League and is intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the Detroit Lions and the National Football League is prohibited. Second down and 7. Jones straight ahead. Let's go to NFL Today in New York and an update with Brent Musburger. Brent?
Well, Brookie, the Eagles have done it again. The Bears go to the halfback pass. It is Walter Payton toward Galt in the end zone, and Waters with his 2nd interception. And now the Eagles on the move with the game tied at 10 midway through the 4th quarter. Let's go back to Brookie and Dick Vermeil.
Brent, do you realize that the Eagles have never won a
football game in Chicago in the history of the Philadelphia franchise. It certainly didn't when I played.
No, I can understand that.
Soldier Field, Chicago. 3rd down and 4. That explains some of it, right? Ferguson across the middle, has it taken by Chadwick. 1st down. Sticks will be moved on this one.
Tom Landry really isn't concerned, I think, about the shutout here. He has a number of number 2 players, backup players, playing in the defense right now. Chadwick took a nice little shot there, didn't he?
Dallas loosening up a little bit, not quite as intense or ferocious as they were for 3 quarters.
Well, they're bound to relax a little bit, but I noticed that Tutal's out of the ball game now.
Little rest there. That's
Johnny Holloway is in at right corner. Vince Albritton's in at strong safety. Pfluger's in at left defensive end.
Handoff to Gary James. The LSU wingback comes back. He makes White miss it. A circuitous route, but very effective. He's got 4.35 40 speed.
He was the 2nd fastest man in the draft. Now you're going to see the ball start to the right. There he is. He gets turned upfield nicely. Now he's going to turn back. He's coming back. He picks up a block from a quarterback. Now watch Joe Ferguson's block right there. That's what you call a low chop block that didn't end up getting the man chopped. Good effort by the quarterback. Good run. A 15-yard gain.
And Randy White and those guys are saying, will you tell him to stop doing that?
I'm tired.
That tires out those big defensive linemen. James has 41 yards on 6 carries. Good drive here by Detroit. Oh, still on his feet. Inside the 15 goes James Jones. And that was helmet to helmet.
Mr. Jones, big, strong guy. Going to run right straight ahead, right behind Lomas's block, number 75. Lomas Brown, the linebackers come in and fill. Eugene Lockhart, number 56, does a good job, but still doesn't knock him down. Then comes number 27. In this case, Ron Fellows making the play.
I wonder if Herschel will turn on other runners that are on the same field that day to show that they're great runners too.
Yeah, I couldn't believe that'll happen.
2nd down and 7. James. Not much, maybe a half yard. Gene Lockhart coming over. Lockhart, by the way, is only the 4th middle linebacker the Dallas Cowboys have ever had.
That's amazing.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah,
There's
well,
Tubbs,
their first
Leroy
one sitting
Jordan.
up in the booth here. Jerry Tubbs, the linebacker coach.
Leroy Jordan, then Bob Brunig.
Yeah.
And now
there goes Mr. Lockhart out. Who will they put inside? Jesse Penn? Yes, I think
bring Charlie Waters and back out of retirement, put him in there, huh? remember when you used to go up against Harris and Waters in that secondary?
Oh, yeah, they were tough. They were tough. They weren't against giving you a chop down the field there once in a while behind the side of the head there.
That's what they said about you. You were tough.
No, not really.
3rd down and 8. Ferguson with a good drop back. Complete. That's Thompson. Leonard Thompson inside the 5 to the 2. Jesse Penn holding on there.
Here's the old man on the Detroit Lion football team. He's been in the league. He's 34 years old. Coming off to the right side of your screen, working one-on-one. Just a quick out. They're laying off him, giving him plenty of room to operate. Now he gets upfield. Didn't practice all week. He was sick with a flu.
He's having a little trouble with the coach, but not a lot.
You can't believe the scars on this guy's body. You know, I guess when you've been a receiver as many years as he's been in the National Football League, that your body ends up with, but he's got marks all over him.
The trouble he's having is that the coach says he plays so darn well on Sundays, but he doesn't practice worth a darn. 1st and goal after Leonard Thompson's reception. James to the outside. James does not get into the end zone, I don't believe. Number 56 came across and swept in there. Lockhart. The safety men were there. And an official has been hurt.
And this is serious.
No fooling around, folks.
I think he was knocked out, Tom. You hit that AstroTurf in the back of your head. That's Jack Betty.
He's had some tough calls today.
This is my timeout. It's not a charge. You got your glasses?
He just wants his glasses. He wants to see who hit him.
He's He's had a tough time today making linebacker calls on unsportsmanlike and what have you.
Here it is. He's going out of bounds, and Jack is backpedaling, and he gets knocked over backwards. And you can see Jack's been in this league for a long time, and I'm sure he's taken a shot or two.
Well, that's got to be one of the top shots.
Here's another one. Here he is, number 39, the official on the left corner of your screen. He can't quite get out of the way quick enough. Bloop. Got it.
Good news is he did not hurt himself seriously, and he missed the equipment on the sidelines, and they're giving him time to clear his head. And you know, they have to be very active and in pretty good shape. I know that you probably don't believe that, but to be able to move around the way they do for 60 minutes, you've got to be in pretty good condition. Jack Fetty is all right. It's 3:06 left. The shutout the Cowboys had is in a lot of trouble right now. Second down goal. He got it with the second lines. Let's see. They're going to give it a touchdown as Jones went over the top and Diossi met him right over the top.
Oh, my gosh. Now you watch this young linebacker, 55, come right over the top and meet the fullback in midair. The fullback ended up winning the battle, James Jones, number 30. Now look at him, hit him right up there in the air and really gave him a shot and couldn't regroup himself, and then touchdown. That Diossi.
And Diossi weighs 249. He's the biggest linebacker on the field, but I'll tell you, Jones did a hang job. That was tough.
You know, and he has that linebacker personality. You know what his hobby is?
What's a linebacker personality?
Hang gliding.
All right.
Reckless type guy. You know?
That explains it. Eddie Murray's extra point is good. Hang gliding by a 250-pound linebacker. That I've got to see. 31-7 Dallas.
Well, David Archer is next for the Dallas Cowboys. He has Atlanta well on its way to 2-0, and that will feature our attraction in the opening game of our doubleheader next Sunday. And St. Louis will be taking on Buffalo. Jim Kelly has been sensational in rallying the Bills today against the Cincinnati Bengals. Our doubleheader game, the Giants go out to the West Coast to take on the Los Angeles Raiders. New Orleans will be in San Francisco, and the Washington Redskins, who are in the process of beating the Raiders inside of 2 minutes, they lead at 10-6. They'll be out in San Diego. And still to come this afternoon, the 49ers and the Rams from Anaheim. Some of you will also see Minnesota against Tampa Bay. So now, let's send you back to Detroit, and here's Tom Brookshier. Tommy?
Okay, Brent. Brent, thank you very much. Boy, Atlanta, Dallas.
Marion Campbell's done a heck of a job with that Atlanta defense. Remember last year, they couldn't stop anybody, and they, going into this ball game, I think they had given up 176 total yards in that league opener.
And they're going to go into Texas Stadium, where the Cowboys will be flying back to in Big D, Irvine, Texas. Lovett is waiting, but the ball's out of bounds. Septime will have, or Murray will, pardon me, will have to kick it from the 30-yard line. Second half of this doubleheader on CBS today. San Francisco and the Los Angeles Rams.
You know, Tom, these two teams do better playing on the road against each other. What I mean is the Rams win on the road. The 49ers win on the road. They can't win at home in this series.
Well, 49ers play pretty well everywhere, don't they?
Yeah, but when the Rams have won recently, it's been on the road against the 49ers.
And that division has 3 grass stadiums, don't they? Atlanta, Candlestick Park, and Anaheim.
Yeah, Anaheim. I was fortunate when I worked at the Rams. Preseason games in 4 seasons of coaching against them, never lost to the 49ers. Now, it wasn't because of my influence, but we were just lucky.
Well, it must have had something to do with it.
8 regular season wins in a row, and we played them 4 years in a row in preseason, so we had 12 wins.
Giants are handling San Diego. That's a little bit of a shock, don't you think?
It is a shock, yeah.
Rather easily, 20-7 at this point.
Kicking from the 30.
Not many points for San Diego.
Here's one of the great kickers, Tom. This guy might be one of the 3 best kickers in football.
Eddie Murray. From the 10-yard line. Lovett gets outside and steps out of bounds. Jack Fetty marks it at the 27.5-yard line.
Scott Pellure is coming in at quarterback, number 16. 5th-round draft choice in 1984 in his 3rd year from the University of Washington.
You like the way he throws it?
I do. Steve Pellure.
he came in preseason, made a couple of good completions in the tough games, and they think that he has matured enough. And of course, this is a great opportunity for him to get some experience.
He was 10 for 17, I think, in the preseason this year.
Reggie Collier, the number 3 quarterback, is out as a wide receiver because he has 4.4 speed for the 40. A lot of talent on this Dallas squad. Inside move, number 42. That's Darryl Clack, Arizona State rookie.
He's the only running back that's ever run for 1,000 yards coached by Darryl Rogers. Now, that's not a slant or a poke at Darryl Rogers, but Darryl is, you know, has been a coach that's run and pass equally and never emphasized just any one phase, but that guy's the only guy that's ever done it.
Went to the USL for a while, played well over there. He's a good player. You just can't get any playing time when you've got people like Dorsett. You've got people like Herschel Walker. I don't think he was in the USFL, was he? Came right out of Arizona
No, he
State?
came right out. Number 2 pick, Tom.
That's right. Well, I
Yeah.
stand correct. Second down. And 8 to go. Rogers, there's Wayne Fonts, the defensive coordinator, sending in Demetrius Johnson.
What he did do, though, as most second and first round draft picks, he reported late to training camp that really hurt him. Now, there's defensive line coach in the blue shirt, Rex Norris. That's Wayne Fonts, the defensive coordinator, closest to you on the screen, and Darryl Rogers in the middle. Now, what do you talk about in this situation?
Well, I don't know. And you really have to find something
You think
to
maybe
talk
to discuss
about
it? Where are we going to meet for dinner, guys?
Well, I
and
don't know.
discuss this nightmare.
Tampa Bay, of course, comes in here to the Silverdome next week. And last year, the Lions were they weren't unbeatable, but they were unbearable here at home.
Yeah, they were
teams
really tough.
Beat everybody but Chicago here. That was really a playoff team that they played. See Atlanta handling St. Louis.
You know, Eric Hipple started the ball game. He's not playing the second half, but you know that he was 19 wins and 4 losses in his career starting in the Silverdome. So that speaks for how well the Cowboys have played today. I don't think he's been benched permanently. I think they just made a change to see if they couldn't regain some momentum here in the second half.
Total yards, Dallas with 350. And of course, Hipple and Ferguson's Detroit offense with 182. It's not a complete domination, but
close to it,
yeah,
Coach.
Very
close to it.
Very close.
Look at these guys. They're going to have a nice plane ride home. When you travel, it's bad enough, but when you fly home on a losing airplane, it's like you're going around the world.
What do the Cowboys get on their flights back to Texas? Do they get enchiladas and tacos, or do they get big burgers like the other teams do?
I'm not sure. Some people get big burgers. We used to always have a full course meal, and some guys though would rather have a big burger.
Live barbecue, eh?
Yeah.
Ed Too Tall Jones took a year out for boxing and came back and found the Cowboy football is what he wanted to do. What a great career he's had. Second down and 8.
Reggie Collier's at wide receiver.
Inside move by Herschel Walker. If I was playing defense now, I would like to tackle Herschel to say that I've tackled him. You know what I mean?
See, I have hit the $1 million man.
That's right. That's right.
Then ask him where he banks.
I tell you, the wallet doesn't slow him down much. It's 31-7 Dallas. Dallas will go 2-0, and the big win, of course, that had to make them feel good was when they whipped the New York Giants, and Dorsett was limping on the sidelines, and Herschel helped him do that. And now the team has beaten Detroit, a team that had rushed for a lot of yardage against Minnesota. So you can see Hegman and Tony Dorsett discussing a good week of personal appearances and practices in Dallas.
Oh, Chuck Lung's warming up. Number 16, the number 1 pick.
He's getting himself in shape after reporting late, but I didn't see a helmet on him. Hope he doesn't forget it. Third down and 3, shotgun. Pallor from the shotgun, complete to Clack. Clack gets into Detroit territory to the 46-yard line.
Nice play. You know, I wonder if they would have drafted Roger Clack if they knew they were going to get Herschel Walker. Darryl Clack, rather. Excuse me, Roger Clack. I wonder if they'd have done that. Huh?
You know, they
have a lot of backs now.
And the Cowboys have been, Schramm has been so good at getting futures. Roger Staubach was a future. Bob Hayes was a future. Herschel Walker, that's 3 pretty good people you're naming right there. So I
Reggie
guess
Collier. Reggie Collier was a guy that...
He might be a great receiver. The number 3 quarterback is quite an athlete. New Orleans has won their first game, 24-10 over Green Bay. High formation, inside handoff to Clack. Boy, finds the hole, gets inside the 40. Clack wants to show that he is also a very fine running back.
Well, you know, he made a lot of yards. You start looking at what he did in college.
Atlanta winning. The New York Giants have finished off San Diego, we're told.
2,671 yards in his career, a 5.2 yard per carry average in college.
All right, here's a question. You know who the leading rusher per average attempt is for the Dallas Cowboys in their history?
Roger Staubach.
Oh, they told you, Roger Staubach.
No, they didn't. Quarterbacks are, if they're mobile, they normally are that average per carry.
He was the most mobile I ever saw. I didn't think you'd get that one. Inside dancing run by Clack.
Tackle trap. Mark Tuyane pulled across the formation, Tom, and trap blocked the defensive end, allowing that room up inside.
Landry has the headset off. Says, tell Alicia we're on our way back with a big win here on the road where nobody won, or not many people did last year. Tony Dorsett is not limping as he walks off, and he bounced on to start this game even with his bad ankle. For Dick Vermeil, this is Tom Brookshier saying so long from the Silverdome in Pontiac, Michigan. The final score, 31-7 Dallas. Next, it's the San Francisco 49ers taking on the Los Angeles Rams in Anaheim, California. CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League will continue after these words from your local station. Bye, everyone.